There is energy in the air. They're breaking in the gloves and loosening their swings. It's game night. Time to get this thing rolling. Big leaguers of the immediate and distant future are ready for baseball on the Minor League Baseball Game of the Week on the CBS Sports Network. You're looking at the Reading Pagoda, part of Baseball Town, USA, Reading, Pennsylvania, where you'll find First Energy Stadium, the home of the Fightin Phils. And tonight, they'll play host to the Akron Rubber Ducks on the Minor League Baseball Game of the Week. Hi again, everybody. I'm Dick Gabriel, along with former Gold Glove infielder Doug Flynn. Lauren Gardner will join us in just a moment. Doug, this is not a huge city, but their love for minor league baseball is enormous.
One thing that's really been consistent, I remember in 1973 as a young kid trying to make it to the big leagues. When we came to Reading, Pennsylvania to play, this ballpark was packed then, and it is now.
Tonight we'll see two players who have had a taste of the good life, and they want more.
Boy, that's exactly true, and kind of gone two different directions to get here. One of them, Brian LaHare, was an all-star of the Chicago Cubs, then signed a nice contract to go play ball in Japan. He's trying to regain that form that got him to the big leagues and the all-star team. The other one is Jake Fox, 32 years old, who just a couple of days ago had 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. He brings experience, leadership, and a little ability to this ball club.
Reading, Pennsylvania is long on tradition. To tell us more about that, let's go downstairs to Lauren Gardner. Lauren?
Well, Dick, professional baseball has been in Reading, Pennsylvania since the 1880s. And the stadium right here was constructed in 1951. And what's more is that the Fightin Phils have the longest standing affiliation in the minors with the Philadelphia Phillies dating back to 1967 and have produced over 300 players that have gone on to the major leagues, including the likes of Mike Schmidt and Ryan Howard. So guys, with all that in mind, it's no surprise that in 2002, the Fightins deemed the town of Reading, Pennsylvania, Baseball Town, USA. And I think on our journey here yesterday, it was evident from the people within the town and around Reading that this place is the gem of this town.
It is indeed, Lauren, and they're expecting a packed house tonight. Coming up, starting lineup, the Rubber Ducks and the Fightin Phils. Minor League Baseball Game of the Week, the CBS Sports Network. Back in Reading, Pennsylvania, you can see it's a gorgeous night for baseball in a town where it rained all day yesterday, but it is perfect this evening. Here's the way the Akron Rubber Ducks will come to the play. Jordan Smith, the leadoff batter, on a 10-game hitting streak. Bryson Miles just off the DL. Doug told you about Brian LaHare and his big league experience. They're going to be facing Ryan O'Sullivan, originally drafted by the Dodgers in the 4th round of the 2011 draft. Came over as a player to be named later in the trade that brought Joe Blanton to the Phillies. Blanton later went on to win a World Series ring with Philadelphia. O'Sullivan had been working in the bullpen, 25 relief appearances this season, but the Fightins were short on starters, and O'Sullivan basically volunteered and said he wanted to hone his skills as a potential starter, and so they gave him a shot, and he is back in the lineup as a starter, and we are underway. Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn, Lauren Gardner, glad to have you along with us on this week's Minor League Baseball Game of the Week here on the CBS Sports Network. Baseball Town, USA, Reading, Pennsylvania. And this is like one big party, Doug. It's a full house. Fireworks later on tonight. They're promising the biggest fireworks show after the game in the history of the franchise.
Well, it says something when you average about 6,000 a game, and tonight they're expecting over 9. That ought to tell you that they either got great fireworks or like pretty good baseball.
And a comebacker to get things started by Jordan Smith. O'Sullivan takes care of business, and he plays defense on the first play of the game. Here's the way the rest of the evening will go. For Reading defensively, Peter Levine, Aaron Altuve, Kelly Dugan across the outfield, Carlos Alonso, Edgar Duran, Albert Cartwright, Brock Stassi, and Ray Willie Gomez behind the plate for Reading. Good look at Ryan O'Sullivan. Off to a good start so far. Retired a tough out in Jordan Smith. Now Tony Walters catching tonight for the Rubber Ducks, who have been struggling. They were swept by the Richmond Flying Squirrels. Lost 3 straight at home. to the Squirrels. That makes 7 straight losses for Akron, which is a team that has been struggling with injuries all year long. Back in June, 3 consecutive games, Akron lost its best 3 players back to back to back.
That's true. You know, interesting story here with Walters. Here's a guy that's a middle infielder, and they're looking for a place to get him into the lineup. And so Terry Francona saw him and said, let's try him behind the plate. And so now this is his first year catching, and they're very impressed with his defensive skills.
Stassi and O'Sullivan team up. So O'Sullivan's had a hand in the first 2 fielding plays tonight for the home team, and Bryson Miles stands in. Coming back off the DL knee surgery. Tore a meniscus cartilage back in June. So he's been rehabbing and he's ready to go, starting in right field tonight. And the Rubber Ducks, it looks like, Doug, are trying to be aggressive tonight. Obviously, they want to break this losing skid, so they're up there trying to get the early swings.
Looking for that first pitch fastball, something that they can handle and try to get them on the board early. Well, this ballpark is just absolutely beautiful. With all the work they've done, they just kept adding on. And the folks that own this have done a wonderful job of making it so fan-friendly.
Akron coming off a 1-7 homestand. As the crowd soaking up the sun here in Reading. Sullivan still working ahead in the count. Mentioned the rain that really poured all over this part of the country last night. Originally there was rain in the forecast for tonight, but it's all gone.
Good pitch.
Good inning for O'Sullivan. Good way to end it. 3 up, 3 down, nothing across for Akron. We'll go to the bottom of the first. No score in baseball town with the Fightins coming up. Minor League Baseball game of the week on the CBS Sports Network. Part of what you'll see at First Energy Stadium here in Reading, the history of this history-laden franchise, now known as the Fightin Phils, or the Fightins for short. Take a look at the 1973 team. We looked at the picture up on that wall today, and young Doug Flynn played against those Phils. But here's the way the Fightins will come to the plate tonight. And Peter Levine with a 3-hit game his last time out. Brock Stassi also with 3 hits, unfortunately in a losing effort for the Fightin Phils. And they're going to be facing Jordan Cooper, the right-hander, 6'2", 190. Lives in Barryton, Kansas. Took a loss his last time out, making his 3rd start for Akron, his 4th start overall. Rubber Ducks are 1-1 in his start, drafted in the 9th round in 2010 out of Wichita State University in his 5th year professionally. Watch for the changeup, they tell us, as well as a fastball, a cutter, and a curve. So, Doug, if he can change speeds effectively, he'll keep moving up.
Oh, he absolutely will. And if he can throw them for strikes, too. We look to have 2 pretty good pitchers that are going to be involved here tonight. Both of them have had some time in the bullpen and now time getting the start.
Take a look at the way Akron will play defense tonight. The Rubber Ducks surround the outfield. Tim Fedroff, Jordan Smith, a speedster, Bryson Miles, we mentioned him back in the action. Adam Abraham, Ronnie Rodriguez at short. Justin Toole is a versatile player. We'll tell you more about him. Brian LaHare, the former big leaguer. Troy Walters behind the plate, all in defense of Jordan Cooper on the bump.
A very good outfield, Dick. These guys can run it down. And we look at the dimensions of this field, it's pretty good size, but they have moved the fences in from a few years ago. It used to be like 380 out to the fence. And we've got a rumor going around that someone has hit a ball almost out of this yard, and we will find that out in about the 4th or 5th inning.
We'll find out a lot about this ball club, this franchise, and this ballpark as the evening wears on. Albert Cartwright standing in. Native of Nassau, the Bahamas, but moved to the States, Delray Beach, Florida, his sophomore year to play high school ball at American Heritage. Originally a Houston Astro, taken in the 36th round. Phillies traded for him part of a multiplayer deal in 2011. What a stop by Abraham. Expecting the bunt, but instead makes a terrific play to lead things off.
Well, he was playing way in. You got to respect the speed that time of Cartwright. Playing in on the grass, ball takes a big high bounce and he just floats over. If you watch him, almost falls. He'll call it a dive, I'm sure. Throws from his knees and makes a very nice play.
So now Peter Levine, left fielder, will stand in for Reading. Being drafted by the Phillies in 2011 in the 20th round. Played his college baseball at San Francisco. Grew up on the West Coast.
You know, something that's kind of traditional here, or maybe non-traditional, is when you look at these uniforms that the Fightin Phils are wearing, very similar to the ones that the big league club wears. And as we've gone across the country, we've seen that a lot of minor leagues have a tendency not to even have the same color scheme at all.
They want their own identity, although they're proud of their affiliation. But yeah, you see Phillies pinstripes everywhere in Reading.
And don't call them Fighting Phils.
Nope, there's no G.
Could get in trouble. Just a good pitch right there. Good location.
Cooper blows it by him.
That looked like that cutter right there we were talking about.
A lot of movement on strike three. 2 down. Now Kelly Dugan, right fielder, steps up.
Take a good look here, Dick. It's not overpowering, but that ball just comes in and runs in on his hands and ties him up, as well as sinking too. So just good movement on his fastball. And I think that's one of the things that's very underrated is guys that throw hard but with no movement, they're going to get hit pretty good.
We mentioned the pitches that Cooper favors. If he can get movement on all of them, it'll be even tougher to hit. But Kelly Dugan dumps the first base hit of the game into right field. Dugan out of Encino, California. And you might recognize his father, who's an actor, also a director, Dennis Dugan, as you get another look at the pitch left about belt high.
Well, what a good swing. No long stride, just picks that foot up and gets it down in plenty of time where his hands can react to the ball. Pretty swing.
Kelly's dad, a friend of Adam Sandler, and directed both Happy Gilmore and Big Daddy.
That's pretty interesting.
Not too bad. Jake Fox, a designated hitter tonight. Knows what it's all about. He's been to the bigs. Go back, look up, goodbye. Big league swing by Jake Fox, and Reading jumps out to a 2-0 lead.
Well, he didn't disappoint. We'd said a couple of days ago he had a couple of home runs and drove in 6. And the 32-year-old trying to make his way back to the big league gets a pitch that he can hammer. And I mean, no doubt about that one.
You mentioned they brought in the fences, but even with the old fences, that one's long gone out of First Energy Stadium.
Boy, he knows it too. What a nice, short, compact swing. Very little movement from his feet. And you can tell he is a strong young man. And I'll say young because compared to us, he is.
Yes, everybody's young compared to us. You also mentioned movement on the fastball. Really a bad mistake by Cooper, obviously. And you can't make a mistake like that to a guy like Jake Fox with his resume.
Well, and a guy that's swinging a hot bat as well.
Now Aaron Altair, born in Germany. Mom was in the service. Stationed in Germany at one point, obviously. His dad, a former German professional soccer player, had committed to the University of Arizona, but the Phillies dangled a signing bonus of $150,000. He said, I'm a Philly.
I don't blame him.
Aaron played for the German national baseball team in the qualifying rounds of the World Baseball Classic last year. Ronnie Rodriguez. And that'll do it for Reading, but a huge swing by Jake Fox made it a 2-0 game here in the bottom of the first. We'll go to the second. The Fightins are ahead here in Baseball Town, USA. We're back in Reading, where the Fightin Phils have jumped out to a 2-0 lead on the Rubber Ducks of Akron, and we're joined now in our booth by Chuck Domino, who is the president of Baseball Town Charities and a baseball lifer, really. Chuck, welcome. Thanks so much for having us.
Oh, it's great to be here.
Tell us a little bit about your history in baseball and what it is you do now with the charities.
Well, we only have a half inning, huh?
Well, you were executive of the year a couple years ago.
And I came up in this minor league baseball way back in 1983, interning with the Oklahoma City 89ers back then with the Texas Rangers, and it just went from there to Idaho, Pocatello, Idaho, Idaho Falls, Idaho. Then I was here in 1987 and opened Lehigh Valley, Iron Pigs, and I'm doing a lot of consulting work now, but I've always remained involved here in Reading with Baseball Town Charities.
Why did you move into the charities side of this venture?
Well, I don't know whether I moved into it so much as we started it in 2000 when I was the general manager here. And when I moved on from here as being the general manager, that's one thing that I really didn't want to give up. Really special to me.
Brian LaHare leads things off for the Rubber Ducks.
You know, this town, we mentioned in our opening, it has always drawn a good crowd when you come here. As we walked around the hallways and you were showing us all of the monuments and pictures and the great history of this ballpark from 1973, I remember there was always a good crowd here. What is the lure? Is it good baseball or is it just good management?
Well, I think it's they do appreciate their baseball. It's helpful that our parent club is only 55 miles down the road. It hasn't always been good baseball, Doug. As you know, that goes in cycles. But it's a passionate town about their baseball, and that's when we felt in the late 1990s, early 2000s that we would moniker this town Baseball Town.
We saw a good shot of some of the youngsters as LaHare draws a leadoff walk, always dangerous. Chuck, tell us about the RBI program.
Well, the RBI program was, it's really an initiative by Major League Baseball. The Boys and Girls Clubs across the country have adopted it and ran with it. We raised money back in 2004, 2005 to the tune of about $900,000, built a beautiful downtown stadium, not just a field, a little brick stadium about 4 or 5 miles from here. And then we turned it over to the Boys and Girls Club, and they ran with the RBI League program, and you saw the results of it pregame today.
You got a chance to say a few words about the program. What was the message you shared with the audience here?
Well, the message was when our vision was there, it was to really involve the kids in the sport of baseball, get them off the streets, get them. Reading has a real problem with crime the last few years, and get them to make better choices and learn the game of baseball.
Was that true where we read that Shoeless Joe Jackson and Babe Ruth had played there?
Well, I heard Babe Ruth. I didn't hear Shoeless Joe Jackson, but it very well could be. They played on those same grounds where the school is now. There was a little plot of land behind the school that we thought it would be appropriate for us to build the little ballpark back there. And more than 50% of those kids that were honored for their recent achievements started playing baseball there. And I'm sure that they would have never played the game of baseball, at least not at that age, and not honed their skills to the level where why they were honored tonight, if not for that, for the stadium. But it was the program that the Boys and Girls Club. We provide the stadium, but they really did all the hard work.
Adam Abraham at the plate for the Rubber Ducks. Thought he might have had extra bases a moment ago. The runner on first and nobody out. And you saw again some shots of the youngsters in their uniforms here tonight. This is just a pocket of baseball enthusiasm here in the state of Pennsylvania, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. We draw great crowds here. The Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, 35 miles up the road, have led the all of minor league baseball for I think 4 of the last 5 or 6 years in attendance, and they're doing great again this year. It really is a hotbed of baseball, youth baseball, and even softball. Really anything with bases and a ball and a bat.
Well, since your tenure here, though, I noticed that you guys here at Reading have been right at the very top of drawing with attendance as well.
Well, In 1987, Craig Stein, the owner of the club, who still owns part of the club, brought me in, and his vision was really kind of what you're seeing right now. The stadium looked very different from this when we got here in 1987. You were here in 1973, Doug. In 1987, it looked just like it did in 1973.
Wow, chain link fence and everything out there.
Chain link fence and everything. The first thing we did was get rid of that chain link fence and put the roof on and the seats in here. So it really, it was Craig Stein's vision. I'm not just saying that because he's watching somewhere right now, but it really was, and we have a great partnership together, and we've hired people, and they've stayed here a long time, and they're ingrained in the community, and you're seeing the results.
Chuck Domino visiting with us. Another base hit on the evening. That's hit number 1 for Akron. First hit of the night for the Rubber Ducks. So 2 now for the Fightins and 1 for the Ducks, who are threatening now runners at first and second. Nobody out for Jake Lowry. Visiting with Chuck Domino, Baseball Town Charities president, and a long-time part of the front office work in minor league baseball all over the country, as he was mentioning. This is one of those towns, a hard-working town that, like a lot of cities, really felt it when the economy wavered a little bit and is still struggling a little bit, and yet baseball has endured. Why is that?
You know, it's interesting you say that, because I look up on the hill out there, and you see a Lucent logo. There used to be 3,000 employees on that hill. You're seeing that white tower out there, and they left that building and 3,000 jobs about 6 or 7 years ago. Behind us is Dana Corporation, another 2,000 jobs left. So we had 5,000 jobs leave this area that we can actually see from the ballpark where we're sitting right now. So for baseball to endure that, you know, we have to roll up our sleeves and we have to reinvent ourselves. We have to be creative. We have to sell more groups. We have to keep our prices affordable. Minor league baseball is about affordable entertainment, but at the same time, it's really, the costs keep going up, and it's really hard to toe that line. But you know, we try our hardest every year.
Well, it's still got to be fan friendly, which I think, after seeing this tonight, I am absolutely blown away by this crowd.
Great crowd on a Thursday night, really is. So Thursday nights, we started doing fireworks several years ago on Thursday nights to boost Thursday night attendances, and it really helped Thursday nights. And whether you, I don't know if you know, but we're having our largest fireworks show ever, because we had one rained out, and we put it on with this one tonight.
Foul ground. Alonso on the move. Not a bad play by the third baseman. Covered a lot of ground, although there's not a lot of foul ground at this ballpark. Chuck, this is a snug fit, isn't it?
Yes, it is a snug fit. When Doug played here, the down the lines, I would believe, was like 360. The power alleys were 395.
Oh my gosh.
The same.
Little out of my range.
Yes, you probably hit a lot of doubles and triples, Doug. Ryan Sandberg led the league in triples, I think, one year with nearly 20, because he hit the gaps and the ball would roll forever.
Wow.
It was configured like that because they played. It was the only field in this area that the stadium had lights. So a lot of high school teams played football here. And the football field ran from the first base dugout to left field, so they had to get that in there. They played soccer probably. And so yeah, it was there wasn't many home runs back then. There was, you know, a chain link fence. It's really we've really redone this thing by the tune of about nearly $20 million over the course of 25 years.
What did you do to the batters? I mean, that wasn't out there, right? With the hill?
The hill was there.
Batter's eye.
The hill was there.
Were the trees there?
The trees weren't as big, I don't think, but the trees
they were saplings, brother.
Doug,
I remember it being hard to see.
1973, Doug.
That's right.
They were probably 2 feet high.
Twigs. That's right. Tim Fedroff trying to move things up for Akron here in the second inning, with Reading nursing the lead. As we talk to Chuck Domino, you talk about the affiliation with the Phillies for so long, and all the great players who have come through this town up to the bigs. I know that is a major reason why this town loves baseball, because they can follow guys like that up to their favorite major league team.
You're absolutely right. And tonight we have Greg Luzinski here, and a couple weeks ago we had Darren Dalton here. We've had Larry Boa here recently. So they come back, because they're only down the road. They come back here and they celebrate with us on a lot of occasions, and they always say the same thing, that it was their favorite stop in the minor leagues. The fans really treat them well.
Another comeback. There could be two. too much speed for Fedorov.
Yeah, but nicely done. I mean, the pitcher fields it, takes a great step towards second base, and gives a perfect feed to the shortstop with just a little too much speed at the plate.
Third time tonight that O'Sullivan has had to field his position. He did everything right.
What I like is he's already in a throwing motion before he gets the ball, but just too much speed.
Threw it to the proper side of the bag, didn't he?
Yeah, when you give that shortstop a little lead throw across the bag, and of course, as we've seen this year a couple of times, they've called runners out for sliding too far outside the line, and it looks like that's one of the things they've cut down on in minor league baseball this year.
So now Lahair at third, Fedorov at first, 2 down for Ronnie Rodriguez, the shortstop. Chuck, you've seen a lot of talent come through all the different stops that you've made in minor league baseball. And we always talk to someone like you wherever we go, and they've talked about their love for the minor leagues. Everybody wants to work in the bigs, but there's just something about being hands-on.
I'd never had a desire to work for the major leagues. I always liked getting my fingers in everything. And when I came up in this business, you know, I cooked the hot dogs, I dragged the field, I folded the T-shirts, and I sold tickets. And that's when I was still, you know, had the title general manager. So, and you know, getting paid $600 a month, and thinking that I struck gold. So my father thought I was crazy, and probably for the first couple of years I was, but you know, in the long
baseball.
Run, yeah, in the long run, it paid off. You know, small towns like Pocatello, Idaho Falls, Idaho. Just a real quick story. I was there in '86 and '87. I still have dear friends out there, and I went out to visit them just last year, and it was like I never left, and I hadn't been there in many, many years.
Wow. Well, there is a certain thing about our game that you either love it or you don't. And this is obvious that with the folks that have come out here tonight, they love their baseball, and you're doing a wonderful job of everything you're doing to promote the game, the minor league game. I still love minor league baseball, and my dearest friends today are not the ones I met in the big leagues, but the ones that I met through the minor league system.
Yeah, you're traveling on buses and rooming in little hotel rooms. You get to know people a lot better that way. I'm sure in the big leagues now, everybody has their own room, and
that's true.
They're spread out on the airplanes, and you really don't get to know. You don't go through the wars with everybody. So.
All right, you need to do one more thing. You need to up that meal money. Do something to get that meal money up a little bit for these guys. I don't have that authority, Doug, but I understand
above your pay level, isn't it?
Above my pay level. It's geez, I've lost track. I think it's $22, $25, maybe 25, maybe 22. Yeah. But when I got into this, Doug, in single A, they were getting $10 a day. Yep. And wow. And they were the kids that were 17, 18 years old that probably needed to eat better than anybody.
True.
And they were getting $10 a day. So it has risen as it should have through the
Ronnie
years.
Rodriguez with a 2-2 count, trying to bring a run home for Akron. Doesn't get too comfortable up there. Ryan O'Sullivan got off to the great start in inning number 1, 1-2-3, but he's been tested here in the second by the Rubber Ducks.
We're seeing a lot of good young arms as we travel around the country, and it seems most everyone now throws at least 90.
At least, and I was saying that's another day. 95 now is what 90 was 10 years ago.
Yep.
And probably average major league fastball back in the days when you played in the major leagues was probably 88 to 90.
Yeah, if somebody threw 90, you were saying they were really running up there good. And now, if you don't throw 90, you're thinking, maybe he's lost something. I don't know.
Yeah, which really makes Nolan Ryan's 100 and plus really must have stood out, huh?
Yes, it did. J.R. Richards, too.
Yeah.
Justin Toole, the number 9 hitter now, with bases loaded, 2 outs for the Ducks. And the outfield shifts slightly toward right field for Reading. Trying to protect that 2-0 lead as we visit with Chuck Domino, the president of Baseball Town Charities here in Baseball Town, USA. And if you wonder about that, we were told that Hockey Town is Detroit, and why not? And somebody somewhere here in Reading was, I don't know if it was you or was that you? Said, okay, it's going to be Baseball Town.
Well, with this, we have a little time here since they have a meeting on the mound.
Yeah.
Scott Hunter was the assistant general manager, my assistant back about 12, 15 years ago. And now he's the general manager. And we went out to a sports conference in Pittsburgh. and all different sports. And a marketing guy from the Detroit Red Wings got up there and explained that Hockey Town was really just a marketing, manufactured by their marketing department. I never thought of it. I just thought somehow the hockey gods, bestowed that upon them. So we said, well, if they could be Hockey Town, we should be Baseball Town. And we had our reasons for it, and I'll explain that in a minute. I didn't want to just do it without being able to back it up.
In the gap, but on the run and making the grab, Peter Levine, route number 3. And the Ducks leave a motor. Chuck, thank you so much.
Okay.
Great talking to you.
Chuck, great to see you, buddy.
Okay. All right.
Chuck Domino, president of Baseball Town Charities and longtime front office fixture here in Baseball Town, USA. 2-0 Fightins lead it. Minor league game of the week. Hot dog time in Reading, PA. Yes, that is an ostrich that man seems to be riding. We'll tell you more about that in just a couple of minutes. But let's go back down to Lauren Gardner. She had a chance earlier to talk with the manager of the Fightins. Lauren?
Well, a guy that's no stranger to the game of baseball, grew up with the game basically flowing through his veins. Skip, your dad was the manager for the Kansas City Royals. You grew up in and out of clubhouses as a bat boy, as a ball boy. How did those experiences shape the leader that you are today?
Well, I think, being able to have the opportunity to be around major league players and be around legends, and Frank White, George Brett, just to see what the day-to-day work ethic it takes to get to the major leagues and to stick in the major leagues, I think is a big thing. But, my goal always was to play long enough to coach. I was fortunate enough to play for 14 years and went right into managing. So something I've wanted to do for a long time, and I'm really enjoying it.
What's the best piece of advice your father gave you about being at the manager level?
Well, I think one of the things is that you can't treat everybody the same. I think people need to be treated differently. A lot of people say, well, you gotta treat everybody the same, but it's not the case. Everybody's not the same. They don't come from the same background, the same country, the same area of the country. So you gotta be able to adjust with the players, adjust with the times, even from when I started playing to the way the game is now with the media coverage and the internet and things. A lot of things have changed. So I think the biggest thing is to treat everybody fairly, but in their own way, and to start every day anew and not really hold any grudges against anybody.
Speaking of adjustments, like any other minor league ball club, you guys have to deal so much with all the transactions, and your roster is always evolving and changing. How do you maintain any sort of consistency with all that movement?
Well, I think, after the guys have played for a couple of years, they realize that there's going to be an influx of players up and down and all over the place. And basically what I have to do is try to be a rock and kind of be the same every day, whether we win 5, lose 5. You want to try to show the players that, today's a new day, whether we won by 10 yesterday or lost by 10, and come to the ballpark so that they know what they're getting into every day.
Thanks, Skip. We appreciate the time.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Lauren. Talking with Dusty Wathen, the manager of the Fightin Phils, who lead it 2-0 here. Bottom of the second inning as Carlos Alonso leads off this frame for the home team. Wathen originally signed by the Mariners, but came up with the Kansas City Royals.
Say his dad was a class act.
Absolutely. Dusty Wathen also played in the Phils organization, played for the Reading Phillies before they were the Fightin Phils. Also played in Canada, as you did on more than one occasion. Played up in Ottawa, played minor league ball.
Canada used to be really strong in the minor leagues as well.
Big breaking ball, hammered, but right at Abraham. 1 out.
Nice play. Looked like that ball was trying to stay down on him, but he was able to keep his glove on the ground and make a nice play.
In fact, I don't know if this is trivia or downright minutia, but Dusty Wathen became the final out recorded in Ottawa Lynx history, grounded out to end the 07 season for the Lynx. And that was the last season that the Lynx played in Ottawa, so he was the last out in the last game.
Let's
win a couple bets with that knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
Rock Stassi.
And when you play that many years, there's a few of us that have been last outs in the last something.
It doesn't matter what level or where you play. You don't want to be the last out anywhere.
No, I got pinch hit for one night. Nolan Ryan was going to break some strikeout record, and I thought, well, all right, it's probably going to be me. And then I got a pinch hit for.
You were thankful, weren't you?
And it happened to be one of my teammates. Well, that's no disgrace. I mean, you got
No.
5,000 strikeouts or whatever he had.
There's a lot of people out there who could say, you know, Nolan Ryan struck me out.
Yeah, that's true. I'd be one.
Stassi played at the University of Nevada. Again, hammered,
Wow.
but right at Justin Toole.
Nice
2
play.
out.
Good swing, hard hit ball, stays down on it. That's when you execute perfectly, you get a good swing on the ball, hit it right on the button. Toole does a great job of staying down because that ball almost was ready to short hop it.
Ray Willie Gomez got the start behind the plate tonight. 5'11", 195. New York City. Signed as a non-drafted free agent back in '07, originally with the Diamondbacks. Promoted earlier this year, 55 games into the season from Mobile, where he was hitting .273. He hammers it. Fedorov on the move. What a grab.
Seeing some good defense here tonight, Dick.
Wind held it up just long enough, and Fedorov gave up his body and then gave up the baseball to a lucky fan. Not a bad way to end the inning for the Rubber Ducks. We'll go to the top of the 3rd inning on the minor league baseball game of the week. 2-0 Fightin Phils. Back in Reading, Pennsylvania, where the Fightin Phils lead the Rubber Ducks 2-0. Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn. Let's go back downstairs to Lauren Gardner. Lauren.
Well, guys, I'm joined by a few very special guests. First of all, Kevin DeVero, the Director of Impact and Health and Wellness for the Olivet Boys and Girls Club here in Reading, Pennsylvania. You have some very special guests here and a very special trophy, but let's talk about your role with this community and the RBI Club, and tell some of the viewers at home that don't necessarily know about this program what it's all about.
Right, RBI is sponsored by Major League Baseball, designed to keep inner city kids off the streets through the sport of baseball. My teammates here and my friends joined us at the age of 10, 11, and 12 through Coach George Gonzalez, who's mentored them and nurtured them to keep them away from the streets and the issues that are going on with all the negativity. These guys have worked hard for the last 8 years. Now they're bringing home championships as a result of all their hard work and effort, thanks to George and the RBI baseball program.
These guys have been together from such a young age, and I know they get to play at a very special complex, and it's also pretty much self-contained. They run a lot of the day-to-day operations over there.
Yeah, we play at the fabulous Gordon Hudak Stadium, built by our friends at the Reading Fightin Phils. We have Kentucky bluegrass, irrigation, state-of-the-art, and it's designed to get these kids hooked on baseball. Obviously, we've succeeded.
Let's talk about this trophy here for a minute. The 2014 Mid-Atlantic runner-up. I mean, that's such an incredible accolade and something to accomplish. What does it mean to you as a director?
As a director, it means we beat Philadelphia, Norfolk, Virginia, and D.C. Unfortunately, we lost in the championship to Philadelphia, but we are one step away from getting to the RBI World Series. This year, it's hosted at Texas Rangers Stadium.
I see some serious athletes here behind me. The question is, who's going to be the first one to not only reach professional baseball, but the major leagues? Oh, you're right here. What's your name?
Raymond Bazan.
Raymond Mazan, what position do you play?
Play third base.
Third base, I like that. All right, so what's your go-to move?
The backhand.
And who's your favorite player in the major leagues today?
Robinson Cano.
All right, okay, I can like that. So you're a Mariners fan then, huh?
Not really, no.
Forget I asked. Well, thank you very much for joining us. And guys, congratulations. That's such an accomplishment.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren, and congratulations to those young men for the great wins they had this year. Just the fact that they're playing baseball. You got to. I know guys from your generation of baseball. And we're going to talk to Greg Lazinski a little bit later. There's been concern among guys of your age, your vintage, that not enough kids have been playing baseball. They've turned to other sports or to things that were far more destructive.
Well, they have, and they have so many more things to get involved with. I mean, one is social media, where they're all texting each other, and they've got games they can go on and play.
Video
we
games,
just looked, yeah, we just looked for a ball field where we could go out and hang out, and if there was one open, you'd go over, and even if you didn't know the guys, you'd start a game.
But as Coach just mentioned, Chuck Domino mentioned, too many kids are getting into trouble, in fact. Foul ball and a lost bat. Tony Walters with 1 out. Yeah, if you're busy playing baseball, you don't have time to get in trouble.
Well, and I think that's the whole idea of the RBI program.
Absolutely. Walters from Vista, California. Drafted in the 3rd round back in 2010 out of Rancho Buena Vista, California.
Wow, just get that pine tar just a little high on his bat, I think. Needs to lower it down there and do some good.
Just came from Omaha. There you see strike 3 where George Brett is everything to the Royals organization. And he knows about pine tar being too far off the bat, doesn't he?
Still one of the greatest scenes in all of baseball. Him come sprinting out that dugout in Yankee Stadium.
Walters just could not hold up. 2 down now for Bryson Miles. Caught looking his last time up. Miles working his way back after the knee surgery.
Good breaking ball there to start him off on the outside part of the plate.
Out of Tyler, Texas. North of Dallas, played his college ball at Stephen F. Austin, 5'11", 230. A lot of muscle on that frame. 6th-round draft pick out of Stephen F. Austin in 2011. Last year in college, he led the nation in stolen bases with 53. So you talked earlier tonight about all the speed on this Akron team.
Yeah, they said they really loved their outfield. They had some guys that could run the balls down. We know they do in center field with Jordan Smith, and Bryson Miles is the same way.
Miles last year, a 23-game hitting streak when he was a Carolina Mudcat. That's the longest in Mudcats history. Wound up 5th in the New York Penn League in batting. Making the climb through the Indians organization.
Well, what a solid pitching inning that time.
Ryan O'Sullivan, just as he did in the 1st inning, set him down, 3 up, 3 down. Go to the bottom of the 3rd, 2-0 Fightin Phils. Minor League Baseball game of the week. Back in Reading, Pennsylvania, Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn, Lauren Gardner, where the Fightin Phils jumped out to a 2-0 lead in the 1st inning. And that's where we are right now in Baseball Town, USA. A 2-run homer by Jake Fox off that young man, Jordan Cooper, who had a good inning his last time out and has had 2 spectacular, well, 1 good and 1 great defensive play behind him. As the Rubber Ducks try to snap 7-game losing skid.
That always helps when you get you a good play. Gives you a little bit of confidence. Feel like you don't have to strike everybody else out.
A packed house tonight here at First Energy Stadium. And not just because Doug Flynn's in the house. And there you see the picnic area. That's over the left field wall. But they have promised the biggest fireworks show in the history of the franchise tonight. And that's because, as Chuck Domino mentioned, the last time they had fireworks scheduled, there was a rain out. Well, of course, they had already paid for the fireworks. So it just sort of carries over almost like a pick-6 bet into tonight's fireworks show.
I like that.
So we will stick around. I don't know if we'll be able to show you any on the air. Depends on, of course, how quickly this game is over. But we're looking forward to the fireworks. Saw some last week in Omaha. Another hard shot, but once again, Justin Toole is there to retire Edgar Duran. 1 out. Go back downstairs to Lauren Gardner. Lauren?
Well, guys, you're about to take a look at Ruth and Judy. Those are the 2 on-site ostriches. That's right, I said ostriches that are here at the ballpark. And you know, they were actually a brainchild of a late-night front office meeting, and they're sitting there thinking, well, you know, LSU has the Tigers. What actual, like, tangible animal can we get here on site? And they said, the craziest thing we could come up with was ostriches, and it's actually not that hard to get them. They're actually from an ostrich farm outside of New York City, so they stay here in the summer, and then they go back to New York in the winter, and they built a pen in the outfield for them to reside, and then they hang out in front of the ballpark during the game. And guys, we went and saw them. They're pretty friendly.
Not only did we go to see them, ladies and gentlemen, Lauren made a beeline for the ostriches. We got out of the car. She went right for the cages. Had to see the ostriches.
One of the first things we did when we got to the ballpark was take pictures with the ostriches.
Absolutely.
Is it
Leadoff hitter Albert Cartwright.
Is it ostriches or ostri?
You know, that's a great, I've never been asked that question, and I'm surprised I've never been asked that question. All right, get on that phone of yours and dig into the internet and find out.
Yeah, I'm so good at it.
Lauren might know. Lauren, do you know?
I've received confirmation from a very credible source that it is indeed ostriches.
Thank you very much. See, that's why she's
That's what
our
I'm here
roving
for.
reporter. That's exactly right.
That's it.
You quickly become an ostrich expert. And we are told that one of them laid an egg last year, and said the ostrich egg, as you might expect, is huge. Peter Levine struck out his last time up. In case you're wondering about the names, the Judy is named in honor of a local politician who has done a lot in land reclamation. This is a tremendous area for farming, agriculture. Ruth is named after an avid Reading Fightin Phils fan who played in the Girls All-America League that was immortalized in the movie A League of Their Own. She is of vintage age and is just an enormous fan.
That's still impressive. What those women did back in that time and the way they went out and entertained the fans when the guys were going off to war.
Yep.
That's just absolutely
Great
amazing.
movie and a true story, based on a true story. Hammered. On the run, Jordan Smith. We talked about his speed and the way he can cover ground. Takes an extra base hit away from Peter Levine. A good inning for the Rubber Ducks. 3 up, 3 down, nothing across with the Fightin Phils. Back with more of the minor league baseball game of the week on the CBS Sports Network. Back in Reading, Pennsylvania, where the Fightin Phils lead the Akron Rubber Ducks 2-0. Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn, Lauren Gardner. Perfect night for baseball. And Scott Hunsaker joins us now in our booth. He is the general manager of the Fightin Phils. And congratulations on an incredible night for baseball. Whoever's in charge of weather did a great job. But just another great crowd. I know they want to see the fireworks, but I hear it's like this almost every night.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate you being here tonight, and yeah, I wish the weather was like this every night.
Oh man,
but life's a little easier when Mother Nature.
Well, I know your life is made easier by, I think you have 21 employees here, and I understand that they obviously, like so many minor league ballparks, they just work their tails off for you.
They do. We're in a unique situation. I've been here 23 years. I started as an intern. Almost our entire staff has started as an intern for our organization, or has come in quite a long time ago. So we have a lot of longevity. It's like a big family.
You know, that brings up a great point. Anybody watching who might be of age might be interested in a career working for a minor league team. What's the best way to go about that, to try to land an internship and land a future?
Just work at a minor league team. Honestly, we
Drop
have
off a resume.
Yeah, we have actually over 120 people that have. It's actually close to 150 now that have worked in our game staff employees, like concessions or whatever, for more than 10 years. So we have an employee wall of fame. Main concession stand downstairs has 3 generations, grandmother, mother, and children all working in it. So it's it was like that when I got here in '92, and I'm really just trying not to mess it up. We're just going to keep it going. Try to keep it going.
All right, Chuck started the story about this being baseball city.
Baseball town.
Baseball town,
USA,
because
right.
he started it, and he told us a little bit about how when you saw what was going on in Detroit and then how it got started, he said you would finish the story.
Well, we did see a presentation from the Detroit Red Wings about Hockey Town, and we were driving home from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, talking about it. And we started to think, about having the longest affiliation in minor league baseball, having this great America's Classic ballpark that's been named, #1 classic minor league ballpark in America. And as we started researching it more thoroughly, Reading was one of the original cities that had professional baseball way back when. Also, from a success rate, Boyertown Legion, which is the local Legion, they've won the Little League the American Legion World Series. And the number of players that have come through Reading and played in the big leagues. So when we really started collecting all that activity and the stadiums that have been here, so Baseball Town isn't just about the Reading Fightin Phils or just about this stadium or just about the Phillies affiliation. It's all that and more. And you saw tonight in the pregame when we honored the Baseball Town RBI kids, just to watch the game growing in our area. Baseball's not growing everywhere.
That's right.
As a baseball guy, and Chuck's a big baseball guy, that's a big part of Baseball Town. Wasn't to just talk about the past, was to build for the future. There are more kids playing baseball in Reading, Pennsylvania every day than there were yesterday.
Wow.
And that's a unique situation.
I've got to think, naming yourself and adopting that title of Baseball Town, that puts a little bit of pressure on you and on your staffers, and that's going to be great motivation.
No question. I mean, the press box we're sitting in right now is the Broadway Charlie Wagner press box. Charlie was a lifelong Boston Red Sox, born and raised here in Reading, Pennsylvania. We honored all these great kings of Baseball Town over the years. Dick Gernert, Paul Cooter Jones, who played for the Reading Indians and then managed the Reading high school team to the state championship. So there's a lot of responsibility with baseball.
Wow, what a stop by Alonso. They just get the lead runner, but Doug, they did something in doing that, didn't they?
I thought he had no chance at that baseball. He does a great job to get it, and then the presence and athleticism to get up and make a good throw to second. Ball is hit right on the button. Looks like it's in the gap. Boy, he gets it on a short hop, which makes it even tougher. Nice play at second base by Cartwright to get it. Probably should have held on to it, but you know what? In the minor leagues, you see guys with a lot of errors. Most of them are throwing errors because you want to try to impress and turn every double play that's possible.
That retired Brian LaHare, who had led off with a walk. It's the second time that they have walked the DH, as we talk with Scott Hunsicker, who is the general manager of the Reading Fightin Phils. You got to like that nickname, the Fightin Phils. That's unique.
It is. We were the Reading Phillies for so many years, and Fightins is obviously a nickname of the big team as well. But just an attempt to try to create our own identity, but still share. We don't want to break from our family. The Phillies are a huge part of who we are.
You know, you're one of the few teams that we talked about it early that still wears uniforms that's very similar to the big league ball club.
Yeah, actually, that uniform they're showing right there is actually a 1950 Whiz Kids uniform. We got our hands on an actual uniform, Richie Ashburn uniform.
Wow.
Put it under a microscope, even like the figure 8 chain stitch on the pinstripe and all that stuff. And Wilson Sporting Goods recreated the exact uniform. And actually last year, the first time we wore it, Richie Ashburn Jr. Wore our version of his dad's jersey and threw out the first pitch. So it was like having Greg Lazinski here. We try to always keep that lineage. That's part of the whole Baseball Town.
Amen.
As well.
That's good.
Being that close to the big club, we talked to Chuck about this as well. And a lot of minor league clubs, the major league clubs are doing that there. They're affiliated with cities and ballparks and ball clubs closer to the big league team. That's just good marketing.
It is. We're lucky. 1967, somebody was smart and said, let's make the Reading Ball Club a Phillies affiliate. And, now most teams have tried to relocate their minor league clubs closer. We just haven't been here always since 1967. So, and that's even with the renovations we've done, we've always tried to remind people that this is the exact same ballpark that people watched Roger Maris and Rocky Colavito play in.
Yeah.
And then there was a whole generation that saw Schmidt, Boa, Boone, Lazinski, and now they bring their kids to see Ryan Howard and all these guys. So it's supposed to feel the same. It's supposed to be 3 generations in the same ballpark.
Well, you have done some marvelous changes since I played here in 1973 with the Three Rivers Indians, the AA affiliate of the Cincinnati Reds, trying to make it to the big leagues. And we mentioned that earlier. I told Dick when I walked in, I said, the only thing that looks the same is the field.
Well, yeah, the seating ball, they did a nice job in 1950. They built it as a memorial to the veterans of our community. They built a great main grandstand. They put that beautiful brick wall around it. Yep. And when Craig Stein bought the team in the late 80s, him and Chuck, Craig's invested, he had invested $10 million. And then 2 years ago, we did another $10 million investment. So we're over $20 million. But it had this beautiful soul to it, and
it really does.
And Craig's been really cognizant of not messing that up. Let's not mess up with the soul. So even when we do a large project, You can see it in our plaza area. All the signs are hand painted. It's supposed to look like it was always here.
Yeah.
And it does. In fact, you have succeeded. We've seen some of the newer parks with berms built in behind the outfield walls, and of course you can't really retrofit, but you've got plenty of areas in this ballpark for the families to get together and bring the kids and enjoy the baseball park.
Of course. I mean, the pool itself is obviously very unique.
Chance for two here by Reading. Once again, too much speed for the Rubber Ducks. Now runners at the corners.
Well, just good fundamental baseball, though. And, you know, when you're at this level, that's what you're trying to teach these guys, is to learn the proper way to play. He didn't try to rush anything, got a nice high hop. Wasn't trying to be too cute with it. Sets his feet, makes just a good, solid throw. And I have never minded when a shortstop or a second baseman tries to throw back to first base and they take their time in doing it, because you're always trying to get in a habit of, good habits of playing this game right. So there was nothing wrong with that.
So now runners on the corners, 2 outs for Ronnie Rodriguez, as once again Akron is threatening, as it did back in the second inning. And we're visiting with Scott Hunsicker, general manager of the Fightin Phils here in Reading, PA. We talked a little bit about the town with Chuck and about how it's gone through some rough times, but the fans just keep coming back. Why do you think they come back? I know, you know, customer service, and they love seeing the players, but, you know, I was watching people pouring into this ballpark tonight, and they were milling about outside. They weren't just coming straight in. They were all having a good time outside as well.
Yeah, it's a unique, you know, a few years ago they did a feasibility study to build a new ballpark downtown. Very rarely do you do a feasibility study unless you think it's going to come back in the affirmative. But the crowd, the fans were resoundingly against it.
Wow.
They did not want a new ballpark, and that's why we did a large-scale renovation here. As I said before, there's a soul, there's a story. Everyone has a story. Greg Lazitsky tonight, guy told me he saw Greg Lazitsky hit it over the brick wall in left field going oppo.
We're gonna ask him that.
Ask him. Another guy said he saw Ryan Howard do it. I don't know if either story's true. I wasn't here for the Lazitsky one, but you know, you can build an awesome new stadium. There are some great ones out there. I love visiting them. You can't build history. You can start from day one and try to build it, but when you walk through the concourse and look at the stories from 1950 right on through, and all those Phillies players, I think that, to answer your question, it's a little bit of a pilgrimage. I mean, in all humility, Wrigley Field, Fenway Park, and minor league baseball, to an extent, that's how we do try to position ourselves, because as a fan of baseball that loves kids, that has kids, you know, to walk them through here, it is a little bit of a trip. You can see there the concourse that pays tribute to the years before the Phillies, and then the other side pays tribute to the Phillies.
You can get lost in those photos.
Spent hours down there, and you know, Rocky Colavito's family was here the other day reading about him, and it's just a neat story.
Duran takes it across and takes Akron out of the inning. Scott, thank you so much. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Scott Hunsicker, general manager of the Fightin Phils, who work out of yet another jam. They have a 2-0 lead here in Baseball Town. It's the minor league baseball game of the week on the CBS Sports Network. Back in Reading, Pennsylvania, 2-0 home team leading the Rubber Ducks in the minor league baseball game of the week. Don't miss the best drivers in off-road short course racing as they go head-to-head and bumper-to-bumper. It's Lucas Oil Racing, Sunday at 8 Eastern, part of the CBS Sports Spectacular on the CBS Sports Network. Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn, Lauren Gardner. Tremendous night for baseball all the way around here in Reading, PA, Baseball Town, USA. Overflow crowd. Watching a good game, something of a pitcher's duel. We've already seen outstanding defense. And fireworks to come. A little bit later, Greg Lazinski will be in the booth with us. And one more baseball card comes to life for me.
You're having fun with that, aren't you?
Absolutely. You know, it's interesting what Scott was talking about with regard to the survey about building a downtown stadium. And as you and Lauren and I have seen, there are just tremendous downtown ballparks popping up throughout minor league baseball, some of the best in America at the minor league level. Charlotte comes to mind. There's a good look at Scott working the crowd, part of his.
How about that shirt?
I love it. I love it. But the stadiums we've seen, the brand new ones, were built in areas where they desperately needed a new ballpark.
Exactly.
The old ones were either about to fall down, one literally burned down. You know, they didn't just say, "Oh, we're tired of this place. Let's move downtown."
Well,
this one, it would have been sad to leave.
Well, and I agree with you because what they've done here is absolutely beautiful. However, we did talk to a ball club just last week in Omaha.
Yeah.
And they said that they built it out away from everything because when they did their study.
Kelly Dugan, despite the shift, drills it past Ronnie Rodriguez, who was playing almost up the middle, and that's where he needed to be.
Boy, he has hit 2 BBs.
Absolutely. Second base hit of the night for Dugan. Singled to right back in the first and scored just ahead of a big fly ball by Jake Fox. This happened back in the first inning.
Nope. Look at that slider here.
That is why Reading leads it 2-0, and Fox stands in for just the second time tonight. Designated hitter tonight, and he will take his base.
Not too surprising. They'd be trying to throw him inside. Maybe a little surprising that he hit him, but not that he would throw inside. Because as we saw last time, Jake likes to extend those arms.
You saw what happens when he gets the opportunity to do that, but he'll have to wait until his next AB. Aaron Altair bounced out to short to end the first inning. Eight home runs himself on the year.
Well, this is like a carnival here. I was reading some reports on the ballpark where they've had football, baseball. They've even had circus come to town, and they would do it all inside of this stadium.
Wow.
So
Altair has spent some time with a big club earlier this summer, back in June. He was recalled to Philly to take the spot briefly for Tony Gwynn Jr., who was placed on, of course, bereavement leave following the death of his dad, Tony Gwynn. Made his major league debut that night with a pinch hitter in the 12th inning against Atlanta. Came back to Reading a few days later. Another pick by Abraham.
wow.
And you're saying thank you very much to if you're Jordan Cooper, to your third baseman. The second great pick by Abraham tonight.
You can't hit a ball much harder than this. I mean, this ball is solid, and he picks it clean, makes a perfect throw to second.
That ball hit so hard that Justin Toole had plenty of time to turn that double play.
What I liked about Abraham, though, is he didn't rush his throw to second. He knew he had plenty of time. Set up, gives a perfect chest-high throw. Just a great play.
Well, they also had to wait till Jake Fox cleared his eye line to second base. Fox now, or rather Dugan at third base. Fox retired at second. Carlos Alonso with a man at third and 2 down now. So Reading keeps teeing off on Cooper, but the Rubber Duck defense keeps coming through for the big right-hander. We've seen both teams really getting wood on the bat. The ball, I should say. Safety squeeze. Not quite there for Alonso.
Oh, I like the way they got him scrambling back. In the minor leagues, you do meet a lot of guys that eventually are going to meet up in the big leagues, too. And you become pretty good friends. And you're not afraid to fraternize and talk and have a good time. But that's not a bad move. Third baseman's back. If you get the ball down, it's going to be a run. Now, if he was on second, it would be different. Dugan getting back into the bag and looking at the catcher like, what are you doing? I'm not that far off.
Alonso grounded to Abraham his last time up. Bottom falls out of that one. Let's go downstairs to Lauren Gardner. Lauren.
Well, Carlos isn't the only professional athlete in his family. His younger brother was actually taken in the second round of last year's NFL draft by the Buffalo Bills as a linebacker. That's Kiko Alonso. Unfortunately, he was hurt this year in training camp, and you know their father, Carlos, also was born in Cuba and raised in Puerto Rico. He raised both of his sons to play baseball. Now, as you can see, Carlos went ahead and stuck with that path, but Kiko went ahead to football, and he's enjoying it so far.
Good genes in that family, obviously. There's another NFL connection in this ballpark tonight. That's Duke von Schaumann, a pitcher for Akron. His father, Uwe, was a kicker for the Miami Dolphins. Kicked in a Super Bowl. So he's got some NFL stories to tell. Not quite the same as having a brother who's a linebacker. But if your pops is a kicker, that's for a Super Bowl team, that's not bad.
Well, you got to have one. Even if you can't pass, like my buddy Garo Upremian, you can still be the kicker of the decade and help win a Super Bowl.
What player has gone on to have a post-athletic career better than Gary Upremian based on a play like that? He was a great kicker.
Yes.
But still best known for a pass that just wasn't quite there. And is hilarious when he tells the story.
Exactly. You know, not a shame. When you have some stuff that you screw up with in sports, you better just start laughing and go on with it, because if you don't, it'll make you miserable and everybody around you miserable.
Well, and of course he has a Super Bowl ring to fall back on.
He does. He's struggling a little bit with some health right now, so our best wishes go out to Garo.
Carlos Alonso trying to battle back after missing the safety squeeze on the first pitch of his at-bat. 2 balls, 2 strikes. They've got a drawing of him up on the big screen explaining that his favorite vegetable is broccoli. Jordan Smith camping under the lazy fly ball. That'll do it. Reading puts a man at third, but the Fightin Phils leave him there. The Rubber Ducks work out of the jam. 2-0. Fightin Phils lead it on the minor league game of the week here on the CBS Sports Network. Welcome back to Reading, Pennsylvania, where I guess the Pixies are out to clean the bases. And while they're doing their work, let's go down to Lauren Gardner. She's doing some work as well, talking to a guy who knows what big league baseball is all about. Lauren.
He knows a lot about what it's like to play at that level, and he's made a splash at this level as of late. Jake Fox, I'm happy that you're DHing tonight. That gives us all the time in the world. Let's talk a little bit about your journey. You were drafted with the Cubs in 2003, made your major league debut with them in 07, and since it's been an adventure.
It's been crazy. I look back over the years and just where I've been, where I've played. It gives you a lot of experience, and it helps you relate to players. I think that's one of the things for me. When I'm done playing, I hope I can get back to the game in some way. And just playing all over the world, all over the map, it helps you to relate to some of these players. We got a lot of players here. We got some guys, got a guy from the Bahamas, and so you can relate to a lot of them. And I think it just gives you a perspective that most people don't get.
You just mentioned some of the Latin players. You came back here to Reading, Pennsylvania from Mexico, and it's, I might botch this right now, but it's the Vaqueros Laguna?
It is the Vaqueros Laguna, yes. That was quite an experience. I played for 2 teams in Mexico. One is Cañeros de los Mochis in the Winter League, and then Vaqueros Laguna in the summer. And really, this season I came into it not knowing whether I was going to be done or not, whether I was going to keep playing. And I just made a promise to myself I was going to go into the season and enjoy baseball again, because when I left, I didn't want to have a bad taste in my mouth. So I went there, I played, I had a great time. I really missed my teammates there. We had a lot of fun, and it got me back here. And it's amazing when you go out and play just to have fun and enjoy the game again. The weight that's lifted off your shoulders. You just go out, you don't think about it. You just go compete and you play the game because it's a kid's game and you love to play it.
And you just mentioned about having that weight completely off of your shoulders. It feels like you've carried that mindset into this past month. I think you're leading all the Philadelphia minor league affiliates right now in home runs. And the home run tonight, is that ball looking like a beach ball as of late, or what?
You know, I think throughout my career, you know, you make little adjustments at the plate with your swing, and I'm in one of those points where my swing's feeling really good. You know, when I was playing in Mexico this summer and this winter, I made some adjustments with my hitting coaches there, and my swing's feeling really good. Then it comes down to just recognizing pitches, and I think the hard part about coming back to Reading and playing at this level again was the velocity, because you don't see that velocity. You know, when you're playing in Mexico, you see a lot of breaking balls, you see a lot of pitches moving in directions you can't even imagine. But coming back here, the hard part was getting used to that velocity, and we're seeing 95 to 100 on a regular basis, you know, and that's something you just got to get used to. But I've always believed if you can hit and you can find the sweet spot on the bat, you can make the adjustment. And that's one of these things I'm trying to teach these young guys, the fact that if you just go up there and watch the game and see how a guy's pitching the hitters, it'll give you an approach, it'll give you a plan, and you can go up there and play right into that plan, and it'll help you be a lot more successful if you watch the game how it's playing out.
You just talked about being able to mentor some of the younger guys here with the club. And let's talk about the fact that you have so much experience now just in every level of baseball. What are some of your future goals? Do you think you see a future for yourself as a coach or manager?
You know, it's hard to say right now. With this game, there's so much is up in the air, and you never know from one day to the next what may or may not happen. And so, you know, I would love to still play. You know, last place I haven't played in my career is overseas, so I would love to go there and play just so that I could have that perspective and be able to relate to players. But at the same time, I know when my time comes to be done, I would love to give back to the game in some capacity. I just don't know how or when. And I think I have that responsibility. I mean, I think you see a lot of players in this game who play the game but never really give back. And I think with the amount of time, the amount of experience I've had, I feel like I have that responsibility to give back to the game. I just don't know how, why, when, or where yet.
And in the clubhouse, what's the deal? I hear a lot about chess and you introducing that to some of your teammates. How's that going over?
You know, one of my issues, and you look at me, I'm a short, fat, white guy. You know, I come out here and play every day, and I'm outmatched athletically with these guys. But, you know, I think one of the things that's being missed through the development of the minor league is the mental approach to the game. Because this is an intelligent sport. Yes, there's a lot of athletes that play it, but it still is an intelligent sport. So anytime I get a chance to introduce an intelligent game to the clubhouse and make you think 3, 4, 5 steps ahead, so it kind of translates into a baseball game. How am I going to put a plan together for 9 innings or for 4 or 5 at bats? How am I going to get to the point where my 4th and my 5th at bat are going to be my best at bats throughout the night? And I think that a lot of these young guys come out here and they play the game athletically and they're very talented, but they don't think that far ahead. They don't make a plan like that moving into the game. And anytime I get a chance to introduce games like hearts or chess or you know, take your pick, I'm going to do that because it gets their it stimulates their mind, makes them think, okay, maybe how does this translate onto a baseball field? And I think that's something that is missed in today's development.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Jake. Doug, you better watch out. He might take your spot.
Sounds good to me. Thanks, Lauren. I was just thinking that's a guy who's got it together, and you can tell he's a mature, polished professional. But I love the story. In fact, talking to Mike Ventola, the radio man for Reading here, he was telling me that about the chess and about the fact that Fox would play chess, especially with Albert Cartwright.
Yeah.
And told him, look, you're the leadoff man, but you're only the leadoff man probably once a game. You know, next time you might be the second man up an inning or the third. So as he told him, have a plan well beyond the opening move of the chess match. You know, you got to think 3, 4, 5 moves ahead.
There's a lot of card playing in the clubhouse right now, and he mentioned hearts, which is a very popular game.
Yep.
Chess is a little bit different. But, you know, I did see a lot of things that we had in common. We were both short, fat, white guys. So I'm right there with him.
Well, he's had a really interesting path back to affiliated baseball. But as he said to Lauren, you know, he's just wanted to leave it all out there and experience everything he could. And Mike Ventola also told me just about how invaluable he's been as a mentor.
Well, and not only that, there's too many guys that leave the game with a sour taste in their mouth because the majority of people get released. You don't leave on your own time. And the fact that he's coming back to try to have fun with the game and leave with a good taste and then possibly start coaching where he can take all of that knowledge that he's learned and relay that to other players, I think that's very remarkable.
Tony Walters trying to find his way on. Incidentally, Jordan Smith retired. His 10-game hitting streak is in jeopardy. He'll get at least one more at-bat.
Boy, looking at Tony Walters, you hear of a lot of players switching positions. I don't know that I've ever heard of too many middle infielders that then move behind the plate.
Not at this level.
Not at this level. That's exactly right. But Terry Francona saw something that he really liked in him. And I think that's it's remarkable because you'll do whatever it takes to get you to the big leagues. And if they ask you to move, my first position, they said, can you play third? And I said, yes. I played it in high school, which wasn't exactly true because I had never played third, but I at least got on the good side of Russ Nixon, who stayed in my corner and really helped move me along the system.
Players who are willing to move and help out. The club kind of remembers that. And of course, Walters had played catcher up till his freshman year in high school before becoming a middle infielder, played second and shortstop at the professional level. But right now he's considered one of, if not the top catcher in the Indians organization. And in fact, he's the best defensive catcher right now in this league because he has no errors. Now he has first base. The runners at first and second, and once again Akron, which had the leadoff man reach in 3 of these 5 innings, is threatening again. That young man's had to work out of some jams.
Well, he's throwing the ball very nicely, and when he's missing, he's not missing real bad. Fastball's running somewhere between 90 and 93 mile an hour, and then he's got a breaking ball, but he's had trouble just with the command tonight.
That, in fact, was his 5th walk. He walked 2 in the second, 2 in the 4th, and still managed to post a scoreless inning. Bryson Miles will try to cross that up, but he has been caught twice on strikes, once swinging, once looking.
And he starts him off with a breaking ball there, trying to get him out in front, or at least to get ahead in the count. Ball's just a little bit out of the strike zone, and Miles does a good job of laying off of it.
Miles looks like he is all the way back from that knee surgery. Was out since June the 9th. Was swinging a pretty good bat when he was injured. Like a couple days before he got hurt. And a homer and a 4 RBI game. Just missing on an inside edge.
You know, try to come back inside after throwing him a breaking ball and then a good fastball.
Bullpen comes to life for Reading. Colton Murray loosening.
Well, even though we're only in the 5th inning, you know his pitch count is starting to get up there a little.
Mentioned Miles had that great hitting streak last year in Carolina. Last season, career highs in doubles and homers and runs scored.
90 pitches right now, Dick.
Akron's made him work hard, and as you mentioned, that control is really added to that pitch count with those 5 walks.
Yeah, when you're just at the 5th inning and you're at 91 pitches, that's
yep.
That means that you have really been struggling.
Well, he's given up just the 2 base hits.
49 strikes and 42 balls to this point. A lot of 3-2 counts. And there really hadn't been that many guys that have just fouled off pitches. He's just been out of the strike zone.
Akron trying to be aggressive. And the runners go. And now base is full as he hits him. So the Rubber Ducks, manager Dave Wallace, looking to play a little hit and run. There you see the jump by Justin Toole.
I thought at first it got him on the helmet, but just got him on the arm. Ball 4 any way you look at it, but hit by a pitch.
This may do it. That's Dusty Wathen.
Well, I believe that's Lundquist coming out. Maybe their pitching coach is going to come out and have a little
you're
talk.
right. 55, not 62.
Give Murray a chance to throw a little bit more.
Dave Lundquist played at UNLV. 5th round draft pick of the White Sox back in '93. Played for the Sox and the Padres. At the major league level, also played in the Pirates organization.
You know, we look at these 2 managers who've just gone out of their way to really help us today with some information. And Dave Wallace, from Akron. We talked to him briefly as well. Played at Vandy, football and baseball at Vandy. And awfully young, but has been now managing for the past 6 years. Played 6 years, and then got a little bit of time in the big leagues as a bullpen catcher, and said he wanted to stay in the game as long as possible.
Dave Wallace in his first year with the Ducks. First pitch swinging, Brian Lahar. Tough situation for that young man, Ryan O'Sullivan. Sacks are full of Ducks. You want to say it, or should I?
Go ahead.
Ducks on the pond. Thank you. Thank you very much. If I hadn't said it, my head would have exploded.
And if I had, my head would have exploded.
I took you off the hooks what I did. Lahar has walked twice. Essentially, O'Sullivan has pitched around him. At least it appeared that way, and you don't blame him. Look at this with the bases loaded. Pretty effective. Brian Lahar. A big chance here.
Wow.
Nice
Bottom
pitch.
just fell out of that one.
Absolutely. Lahar struggling in the last homestand for the Ducks. Watch this pitch.
Yeah, I believe it was probably a sinker. I mean, it was a little bit too hard to be a changeup, but just an excellent place to throw it.
Essentially the same spot. Lahar last homestand 4 for 22. 9-game hitting streak earlier this year. Began the season with Columbus. Struggled up there. Batted just 114 in 10 games. Obviously they expected a lot more from him. Be surprised if he doesn't wind up back up in Columbus. He's trying to get himself straightened out. Former draft pick of the Mariners, 39th round in 02. Again, O'Sullivan working away. Called up to Seattle in 08 in July. Made his major league debut as a pinch hitter. Wound up with the Cubs in the minor league level in 2010. Mentioned earlier, PCL MVP in 2011. Levine on the run. Not deep enough to get a man home. And there are 2 outs. Wind is really picking up now, blowing in.
Yeah, we've watched that flag all night. And when you saw the first home run that was hit tonight, was actually the only home run that was hit by Fox. It was hit actually against the wind, but he hit it so hard and on the line, didn't have a chance for the wind to do anything to it.
Flag has absolutely changed directions. It was blowing right to left when the game began, and now you see what it's doing. Now Adam Abraham, a single and a fielder's choice.
Boy, just some great defense at third base too.
This may be the last inning for O'Sullivan. No doubt they want to see if he can work his way out of this jam.
Well, this will be pitch 100.
Seems like it's been all or nothing for O'Sullivan. He's either struggled mightily or just almost been overpowering at times.
Yeah, he's had a couple of real easy innings, and then he's had 3 where he's had to work out of jams, but been able to do that with some good defense and getting hitters to hit ground balls right at his infielders. So as far as that goes, he's done a nice job of getting out of jams.
That's just fastballs. One of the best fastballs tonight.
Well, and one of the best locations too. He put that right on the outside corner. You see the catcher sit there, doesn't even move his mitt.
Abraham, the MVP of the Eastern League Finals for Akron back in 2012. Drafted out of the University of Michigan in 08. Big pitch for O'Sullivan as he works his way out of a bases-loaded jam. Akron leaves the bases full. Reading with a 2-0 lead on the CBS Sports Network. Back in Reading, PA, Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn, Lauren Gardner, and you see the sun beginning to set on Baseball Town, USA. Just a gorgeous night for baseball. As always, great camera work by our crew. Outside this stadium, an interesting, dedicated, I don't know if it's a statue or what you'd call it. They're giant dog tags to remind visitors of the sacrifices made by members of all branches of the U.S. military, as you see, in memory of U.S. veterans. And Doug, you and Lauren and I have traveled the country, but we have not seen anything quite that impressive when it comes to commemorating the armed forces. I know that means a lot to you.
Well, it does, and that leads right into a little event that we're doing here. A shameless plug, but it's all about Johnny Bench and I going to Camp Lejeune to raise money for Hope for the Warriors. And one of the neatest things I got were dog tags from down there. Had them made up, and I tell you what, you cannot do enough for the men and women of our military that are out there doing all that they can to give us the freedoms to do this. And I'm locked in. I'm a Hope for the Warrior guy kind of guy now, and USA Cares, anybody that's doing stuff with the military, then I want to be a part of it.
Well, here. As we said here at this ballpark, just a tremendous way to commemorate their service with a huge set of dog tags right outside. And again, I was watching the crowd rolling in tonight. A lot of people taking pictures. How about that bunt by Jake Lowry?
Yep.
Beg your pardon, not Lowry.
Stassi.
Flip the scorecard. Brock Stassi.
We almost saw another great play from Abraham at third base too, but he was playing back a little bit. That's pretty. Watch this. He doesn't move. He waits. He bunts the ball before he takes off. One of the biggest habits, bad habits, that a lot of guys do when they bunt is they start running before they bunt the ball.
And
unless you're trying to
punch at it either.
No, he just said let the ball come to him, aimed it right down third base, and with the third baseman back, he knows he's got a shot to beat it out.
So now an opportunity for Ray Willie Gomez with a man at first, left-handed hitter, so the right side of the infield with a big hole. Fly ball to left last time up. Had a hit taken away by Tim Fedroff, a diving grab that ended inning number 2. Could be 2. And is. Rodriguez, Toole, Lahar. 2 down.
Seen some good defense tonight, and pitchers are doing a good job of working out of trouble.
Well, you mentioned the fundamentals, and I know that you pick up on so many of the little things, but we've seen a lot of just basic baseball tonight.
Well,
but they make it look easy.
They make it look, well, when you do it right, it does look easy.
Yeah.
What you saw there from a shortstop is that when he caught the ball from a down position, he didn't raise his body up to throw it. He threw from staying down. All he did was pivot. And when I teach youngsters, I tell them don't raise up to throw the ball, because when you do and you bring your arm up high, you're throwing at a downward angle. If you throw from down low, then the ball's coming up where the second baseman or shortstop can see it better.
Is that a difficult habit to break?
Yes, it is.
Edgar Duran sending it down the line. And once again, Tim Fedroff with a highlight reel catch. Second of the night for the Rubber Ducks left fielder. What a night he's having on defense as he flashes the leather here in Baseball Town, USA. Fighting Phils lead it. Back in Reading with a Fightin Phils lead, Akron 2-0. Join us next Thursday, July 24th. We'll be in Utah, where the Tacoma Rainiers, Mariners affiliate, travel to Salt Lake to take on the Bees, the Angels affiliate. Pacific Coast League AAA action on the minor league baseball game of the week, 10 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn. Let's go downstairs again to Lauren Gardner. Lauren.
Well, guys, we talked earlier about the tradition of this team and this stadium that was constructed in 1951. And you know what? If walls could talk, I think I am next to one of those walls right now. This is Francis Ducky Turner, longtime stadium manager here at First Energy Stadium. Francis, talk about some of the great things you've seen here. You've been around for quite some time.
Well, I mean, up until 1986, Joe Boozes was here and ran the ball club. And in 86, Craig Stein bought it from him, but he let Joe run it, and he just stayed in the background. In 1987, they brought Chuck Domino in, and Craig Stein and Chuck had the roof built. Back in 1950, when they built the stadium, they needed an extra $10,000. They didn't have it. But Craig put that roof in, and I'll tell you, when I came around the corner and I saw that first beam up there for the roof when I come back from work, I'll tell you, it was the most exciting thing in my life. All of a sudden, the Reading Municipal Stadium at that time, that's what we were called, had a roof, or was starting of a roof. And from that time on, why, it was just one thing after another. It was the roof, then it was a picnic area, then it was the deck, then it was the pool. Really, it was just one step after another, and I was just fortunate enough to be at the right time at the right place. Let's put it that way.
I'm assuming you made sure all of these things were constructed in a seamless fashion.
Oh yes, yeah, Rob, you're really that was my big job to make sure they did it right. Right.
Now, you were inducted into Baseball USA, the Hall of Fame, in '07. You were the king of Baseball Town USA. What was that experience like for you, and what does it mean to you having been with this organization for so long?
It meant a lot because I've been here so long and I saw all the improvements and everything else. And with the players and everything else, I was just so overwhelmed when they picked me that I was going to be up there and say that I was the king of baseball town for 1 year. I mean, it was great, really. I just, for a frustrated old-time ball player, why, it was great, But I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed my, 1970s when I started coming out here. I just can't believe it, really.
And life is pretty good for the king. You don't strike me much as a jewelry guy, but let's take a look at this hand right here. And this bracelet, tell me what this thing is all about. I think I want one.
Yeah, I ran the beer here for 29 years, and when I retired, they gave me a bracelet. I get free beer for life. I don't know if they realize how long I'm going to live or what, but I remember Craig Stein, when they gave me the bracelet, he said, Dougie, the bracelet probably costs more than the beer you're going to drink.
Thank you very much, Francis. Maybe I can borrow that from you a little bit later. Guys.
I would have expected nothing less from Lauren to try to con a sweet old man out of his beer for life bracelet.
Is that's something?
That's tremendous. 2 outs now. That's the new pitcher, Colton Murray. You saw his numbers earlier for Reading. And now Ronnie Rodriguez will try to keep things going. So Ryan O'Sullivan goes 5 innings. He's the pitcher of record, worked out of 3 jams. And now we'll watch as his teammates try to bring this one home. But Akron keeps putting the pressure on. Rodriguez drew a walk back in the 2nd inning. So a scoreless 5 innings for O'Sullivan. Duran's going to have to hurry. And
yeah, once he didn't get a good grip on that ball, he had no chance. Rodriguez runs very well. He had to go far to his right, and as he came in, I would say that would probably go as a base hit. You see Miester range. He's playing very deep anyway. Comes up, doesn't have a good grip on the ball, and so he did the right thing by not trying to throw it. And that does go as a base hit.
So now Justin Toole is singled to center his last time up. Scampered to second on a throwing error.
You know what's impressive, Dick? The first guy, O'Sullivan, comes in. He's throwing 93 miles an hour. They go right to the bullpen for a long reliever to come in, and he's already touching 95. That's amazing to me at Double-A ball.
The Toole catches up with one right at Aaron Altair, and that'll do it for the Ducks. They strand another. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. The Fightin Phils with a 2-0 lead here in Reading, Pennsylvania. Minor League Baseball game of the week. the CBS Sports Network. Back in Reading, Pennsylvania, Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn, Lauren Gardner. Fightin Phils put up 2 in the first, and that's been it for the scoring. It's been pitching and defense ever since.
Yeah, and when we look at a game like tonight, it could turn right now. Akron's left 9 men on base.
Take a look now at the MILB.com news from around the league for this past week with a trade deadline approaching. The non-waiver trade deadline, July 31st. We've seen Jose Rondon, Taylor Lindsay traded to the Padres in that huge deal for Houston Street. Rafael DePaula traded to the Padres for Chase Headley. Keep an eye out throughout the next week for future stars of tomorrow dealt for MLB talent. Uniforms creating the buzz right now. One of the great things about minor league baseball, the fan promotions, they're quirky, they're fun. We see them each and every week. Had the Star Wars themes early, Ninja Turtles in Fresno. There you see some of the promotional moves here in Reading, a pie in the face. The Ghostbusters night in Toledo, but it's going to be tough to top Chihuahua jersey that the El Paso team is going to be wearing on August the 3rd. Lots of fun around MILB this week and every week. And Charlie Montoyo with a milestone win, becoming Durham's winningest manager. 614 wins. Took sole possession of that mark with a Tampa Bay affiliate with a 5-1 win over Rochester on Monday. Now Albert Cartwright leading things off. We were talking about trades, and he was traded from the Astros organization to the Phils organization back in 2012, and he called it shocking and a wonderful surprise. He felt like he had a better opportunity to move up in the Phillies organization, but ruptured an Achilles in spring training in a conditioning exercise in 2011, missed the entire season.
There's a lot of guys that spend time down the minor leagues, and it's not because they're not very confident to get to the big leagues, just no place for them to go, so a trade does them a lot of good.
Ronnie Rodriguez takes care of things. One more headline, the Texas League and Diamond Dreams partnering to create Mike Coolball Day, celebrated during the week surrounding July 22nd in each of the Texas League clubs' home ballparks in honor of the late Mike Coolball. Lost his life hit by a foul ball coaching first base for the Texas League's Tulsa Drillers back in '07, survived by his wife and 3 kids, left behind lots of friends and family. MILB.com, your home to all the latest news, stats, and schedules from around the minors. Check it out today at MILB.com. Stay up to date on all the action.
You know, all coaches now wear batting helmets.
Yes, sir. They do indeed. On the pro level and in NCAA baseball.
Okay, we heard Ronnie Rodriguez was smooth at shortstop, and he certainly is. Made a couple of very nice plays and made him look effortless, as an outstanding arm. And rumor has it that defensively he's ready for the big leagues. He just needs to get a little bit more comfortable with the bat.
Heard the same thing from David Wilson, the fine play-by-play man for Akron. Mentioned Mike Ventola in his first year with the home team here, Reading. David in his 3rd season in Akron, then plucked out of the air by Justin Toole. Mentioned the Chihuahuas uniform. We showed this to you last week. I got to see it again. This is just too much fun.
I want one.
I know you do. How
Is
about
that great?
Although you have 2 golden retrievers, they might be a little bit envious.
Well, that's cool. That is cool, but that is very true too. That is outstanding.
Well, if you've got a nickname like the Chihuahuas, you just got to go with it. Kelly Dugan, a pair of base hits tonight, and he has hit the ball hard each time, hasn't he?
Boy, you're right. He has hit 2 rockets, one to right field, one to center field. They still play the shift on him.
Ronnie Rodriguez now on the second base side of the bag. Here's a look at the shift, and you see Justin Toole a few steps into the outfield. They jam him. Fedorov just couldn't catch up with that. You expected him at any moment to come out of his shoes, lay out, and make the catch.
Well, Abraham did a good job of getting down that line too, but you're right. Everything hit the left field he has made the play on. But if you're a pull hitter and he's obviously playing him over a little bit, that was just too far a run to go.
Dugan spent nearly 2 months on the DL this year with an oblique injury. He has been riddled with injuries and illness during his career. Crowd picking up the noise here at First Energy Stadium. Dugan in 09 played just 45 games, had a staph infection. You know how dangerous those can be. Stress fracture in his back limited him to just 75 games across 2010 and 2011. Had a case of turf toe last year. But he's hit safely in 10 of his last 12 games. Now make it 11 of 13. Earlier this year, hit on the hand by a pitch. And the oblique injury.
If you've never had turf toe,
haven't had the pleasure.
I used to laugh at it until I got it, and then a couple of surgeries took care of both of them, but that's nothing to laugh at.
Off speed, and that'll do it. Nice pitch by Jordan Cooper, and a good inning for the Ducks. 3 up, 3 down, nothing across for the Fightin Phils. We'll go to the 7th. Reading with a 2-0 lead on Akron. It's the minor league baseball game of the week. CBS Sports Network. Back in Reading, Pennsylvania, baseball town, USA, where the home team leads the Akron Rubber Ducks 2-0. Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn, Lauren Gardner. Great crowd on hand, and everybody staying put, and a lot of them were here earlier and got a chance to have their pictures taken with a couple of the World Series trophies won by their beloved Philadelphia Phillies, and a chance to meet Greg Luzinski, former Phil. He was going to join us here in the booth, but he was called away, had to leave early, so we regret not getting a chance to chat with him. Maybe we'll be back here. Our travels will bring us back to Reading at some point.
I really had one question I wanted to ask him, because they had such a good team in the 70s. It was them and the Pirates in the East, and then the Dodgers and Reds in the West. What I wanted to ask him is, what was the difference when Pete Rose came over there? And I think I know the answer. One is he took a lot of pressure off of Mike Schmidt and off of Boa and off of those guys that didn't particularly like talking to the media. Pete loved talking to the media. And so they were able to win in 1980. Then, of course, they won again in 2008 when they had a very good ball club as well.
Of course, that can be a tough town in terms of the media if things aren't going well. And Pete Rose could handle himself anywhere.
Anywhere. He was the best at winning, losing, talking. Of course, when you're going out and getting 2 or 3 hits every night, it's pretty easy to talk to the media.
You're pretty confident, yeah. You mentioned Mike Schmidt. Mike Schmidt's first professional home run came right here in this ballpark back in the early 70s when he was drafted right out of Ohio University, a 2nd-round pick. And he played in an exhibition game, Reading versus the Philadelphia Phillies, and he played for the Phils. And he played shortstop that day. And the margin of victory, a 4-3 win by the big club, was Mike Schmidt's home run, his first. It was an exhibition game, but his first as a professional. And they liked the way he played that day. So he began his career at Reading at this level. And he always credited that, of course, that game, that home run, with helping him jumpstart his career. You know, he didn't have to start at a lower level. He got to start right here at Reading. And that big swing that day was obviously the biggest reason.
You know, one of our buddies, Mike Pratt, the All-American from the University of Kentucky, grew up with Schmitty, and he said he was some kind of athlete. I mean, he could have probably gone on and played professionally in some other sport.
Well, our friend Tom Stultz with JMI was a college teammate of Mike Schmidt at Ohio U.
That's right. We have heard that story before.
Well, if I played anywhere near Mike Schmidt, I'd be telling everybody. Got a chance to meet him briefly. There's a good look at young Mike Schmidt back in the day with the Fightins. He played on the Pro Celebrity Golf Tour for a while. Inside out swing by Jordan Smith. They have kept him off base. A 10-game streak now in serious jeopardy.
Boy, how effortless does these outfielders look going for these balls. Altair looks like he just glides after the ball. I mean, it's fun, and this is two teams that catch it really well.
Teams that have been struggling of late, but tonight they've just looked outstanding, at least on defense, and they're swinging the bat. But except for that big fly in the first, not a lot of productive offense. Runners on base, but people are being left on base as Tony Walter stands in. Walked in the fifth.
That to me is right now the difference in the game. They've had the bases loaded with one out and didn't score. They've left 9 men on total. And that's the big difference in the game.
Walters, the infielder turned catcher from Vista, California, 5'10", 180.
Boy, Murray has a good arm.
Colton Murray, the second pitcher of the night for Reading, on in relief of Ryan O'Sullivan. How about that for a base hit?
That's a line drive in the score.
Exactly. So now 1 on 1 out for the Rubber Ducks. Got to hit them where they ain't, Coach.
That's it right there. That's what Willie Keeler used to say. No, I did not play with him.
I was going to say, what kind of guy was he?
Yeah. Just no chance to get there. You're playing a guy up the middle, just not a chance to get there.
And Duran with good wheels, he just couldn't get there. And now Bryson Miles hit by a pitch his last time up. Murray just tantalizing with that pitch.
Yeah, took a little something off that. 87 may have been a slider that he started him off with. And Miles they've really pitched him tough tonight.
Alonso stays down on it. Good hard slide though by Walters. 2 out.
Yeah, there's not a lot he could do. He couldn't get a lot on his throw that time just because of the pressure of Walters getting down to him quick, showing that middle infield speed to get down, but a nice job of trying to turn it. This ball hit the third. Alonso, you watch, boy, he's not sure to come get it or not. Makes a nice throw, but just not in time to get the speedy Miles.
So now 2 down for Brian LaHare. A pair of walks tonight and a fly ball to left. Led off the second with a walk and the fourth with a walk. Stranded at third back in the second inning. Rubber Ducks have had runners on base in the second, fourth, fifth, sixth, and now seventh.
Well, here's a guy that you know, especially with the wind blowing like it is tonight, if he gets one halfway decent, almost another overthrow to first base. Good athletic move by Stassi at first. And you figure with a 2-run lead, you really don't need to be worrying about that runner. You ought to be trying to concentrate and get the hitter out.
Big target, 6'5", 240 LaHare out of Worcester, Massachusetts. Mariners drafted him out of St. Petersburg Community College down in Florida. Back in 05, had a year with the Mariners single A affiliate, 22 homers, 113 runs batted in. Nice pick by Gomez. Spent some time on the Mariners 40-man roster, called up to the bigs in 08. Played all of 07 in Tacoma, spot we got to visit earlier this year. We'll see the Rainiers next week. Just off the plate.
Boy, does a good job eyeballing that, and they need to be careful here. 3-1 count in a good hitter's position.
You're just joining us. Doug mentioned earlier that LaHare made the Cubs big club and was an everyday player in 2012, a reserve on the All-Star team. Signed a big contract, went to Japan, now trying to work his way back. Big pitch for Murray.
Yeah, a little too over-aggressive that time from LaHare. There's a chance for him to take a walk. Good hard sinker that he's trying to get a hold of, and just needs to be a little bit more patient right now.
Runner goes, of course. But another walk for the big stick.
Boy, his third walk tonight, and they are piling up the number of men in scoring position.
But also bound and determined to keep the ball out of LaHare's power zone.
And that's probably a smart move.
Yeah.
Of course, we have Adam Abraham, who's having just an unbelievable defensive game that's up, already has a base hit.
Had one taken away from him back in the 4th inning by Alonso, who made a great stop on a hard smash to third, starting a force play. Abraham caught looking to end the 5th with runners in scoring position. Bases loaded, in fact.
A little slider to start him off with. A lot of pitches being thrown in this ball game tonight.
Abraham, born in Grosse Pointe Park, Michigan. We mentioned earlier, a former Wolverine. No, beg your pardon. Yeah, he did come out of the University of Michigan. 6'2", 228. Indians took him in the 13th round in 08. Spent last year in Akron as well. Played first, second, third, left, and right, and also DH'd at times.
And we have more action down in the Fightin Phils bullpen. It looks like Miguel Alfredo Gonzalez is warming up.
Duran goes the easy way, and Akron strands 2 more runners. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th. The Fightin Phils nursing a 2-0 lead here in Reading, Pennsylvania. Minor League Baseball game of the week on the CBS Sports Network. It's a good one tonight here in Reading, Pennsylvania. The Fightin Phils leading the Rubber Ducks 2-0. Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn, Lauren Gardner. Get the latest news, stats, scores, schedules, and video highlights from every minor league team at MILB.com, the official website of minor league baseball. Follow baseball's top prospects and experience more of what makes minor league baseball great for the entire family. Visit MILB.com today.
You did that so well.
Well, I believe every word I read.
And you know, this is Hall of Fame weekend coming up.
What are you trying to tell me?
That I didn't get in again.
Oh.
I think
That's
I
good
just
news
missed.
for
My, my buddy Jeff Foxworth, he's always kidding me, and he called me again and he said, and I've always said, once I get into the Hall of Fame, would you do the introduction for me? And he called, he said he really felt it this year. And I got excited when I didn't get the call. I guess I'll just go fishing.
Well, I will say this. You are the greatest, the most outstanding former player in this booth tonight. So I congratulate you on that.
That's very nice of you. Thank you very much.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Former Gold Glove winner, Doug Flynn. That'll be $20.
Is that all?
That's it. It's getting cheaper every year, isn't it?
It is. My statute of limitations has run out.
I know that's a huge thrill for anybody, but buddy, you've got a couple of World Series rings and a Gold Glove, and a lot of great memories, and a lot of great memories of minor league baseball.
I really do. And my buddy Joe Torre's going in, who I was very blessed to play for 4 years. And the big hurt, Frank Thomas, going in, and he
could swing it a little bit.
How many guys from the SEC have gone into the Hall of Fame?
I got to see him play when he was at Auburn. He was scary good. And then just as scary good or better in the bigs. Here's a guy who knows how to play in the bigs, Jake Fox. Against Erie on Tuesday. Doug mentioned a big game he had, 3 for 5, couple of homers, a double. 6 runs batted in.
But what a great interview, too.
Oh, absolutely. 11th multi-RBI game since June 13th. Not for the season, just since June 13th. And you know what I enjoy as well about him is the attitude.
Yeah.
You know, here he is in Double-A, urging these young guys to work hard every day and then doing it, not just saying it, but doing it because he wants to get back. As you mentioned, he wants to get back to the big leagues, and he knows that's possible.
Well, you get no respect if you just talk it and you don't go out and do it.
Got to walk it.
You really have to walk it, and he certainly did that. Lauren did a good job of pulling all of that out of him. And that's just exactly what we had heard from the coaches and other people on the field.
Yep. From Greenfield, Indiana. Not far from Indianapolis. Two-run bomb back in the first, hit by a pitch in the fourth. Same man on the bump, Jordan Cooper. He has pitched extremely well for Akron, just the one mistake. Fox just trying to go with what he's got.
And you're right, too. That other than that, he has pitched an outstanding game.
Giving up just 4 hits.
Well, he only stranded 1 runner tonight, too. So they've had 1 guy that's been left on base the whole night.
Great defense behind him, too.
Absolutely.
Diving catches, great picks in the infield, couple of double plays.
Yeah, he can't hold his head down after the way he's thrown the ball tonight.
And Fox with a no-doubter back in the first. Kind of reminiscent of the home runs we saw last week in our telecast in Omaha.
Wow, we saw
balls
a bunch, didn't we?
flying out. I think we saw 6 last week. And all but one of them were right off the bat, no-doubters. Breaking ball, Rodriguez.
Smooth, isn't he?
Yep.
You're right. Good breaking ball. Man, he sets up on every single ball in great position. His feet are in good position. Then he has that really strong arm from shortstop.
You know, again, it looks routine, but it speaks to mental discipline, doesn't it? Not just physical, but mental.
You know, if your feet are in good shape, chances are the rest of you are going to be in a good shape to catch the ball. And we had heard that he was smooth as silk, and certainly has not disappointed this evening.
Now Aaron Altair bounced into a double play his last time up. Reading had put the first 2 men in the inning in the 4th on base, and looked like they were trying to break through against Jordan Cooper, but Altair with a hard hit ball to Abraham at third started a 5-4-3 double play.
And I mean, that ball was smoked. Probably the hardest hit ball of the evening.
We mentioned Altair, born in Germany, but drafted out of Agua Fria High School in Avondale, Arizona. .6'5", 220. Played him in the corners in the outfield, also in center where he is tonight. And he's on.
Well, that was just the 70th pitch that we've seen from Jordan Cooper tonight.
And how about this, his first walk?
First walk of the evening.
Plunked a man back in the 4th inning, but otherwise he's been sharp. So now Carlos Alonso, a ground ball, a fly ball. Born in Boston, played his college ball at Delaware. 5'11", 205, 32nd round pick by the Phils back in 2010. It's got to be a thrill when you play your college ball so close to a big league club and you're drafted by that team. Although I don't know, he probably grew up a Red Sox fan.
Well, on almost any night, you know that somebody from the front office, wow, look out. Oh. Somebody from the front office can come over and watch you play.
Yeah. Got to watch Alonso today in batting practice. He was spraying them all over the ballpark and offered Lauren a chance to step in. He had the helmet, he had the bat. Maybe it's the fact that she's wearing a dress and wedges that she just chose not to take a few swings.
I was kind of anxious to see her swing the bat a little bit. She's been talking a lot of smack lately.
Maybe she didn't want to show off.
We have action down in Akron's bullpen. Lewis Head getting loosened up, the right-hander. Starting to throw some now.
Cooper's been sharp, as we said. You've got to think there's a pitch count in play as well for him, but as Doug said, he's been efficient. Nope.
You guys are talking there like I can't hear you.
No, we know you can hear us.
I'll have you know I was an all-conference, first-team all-conference member, and I can slap like no one's business, all right?
We were talking, I mean, those were words of praise that we were trying to heap on you there.
Oh, I do appreciate that. I just didn't want to take away from any of the guys during BP.
You know what,
so
though?
I opted just to sit that one out.
It would have been interesting to see you go up and show off your slapping skills. We're talking about fast-pitch softball. That is an art in and of itself. A little hit and run by the Phitins. Yeah, you might have had to explain that to some of these ball players, Lauren, what slapping is all about. That's a big part of softball.
I think that would have been an automatic base hit if I would have made contact.
Well, I know it would have caught them by surprise if they'd been playing defense.
Yeah, if I could do it in the wedges, I think
There
I might
you
get
go.
a little extra torque from these things. It could be something new. You put some cleats on the bottom of these bad boys, we're good to go.
Makes you taller.
Yes, it does.
Reading trying to generate something offensively. They need some cushion to the Phitins. Ducks looking for that double play. They've turned 2 tonight and stolen a handful of base hits. We've seen a total of 8, 4 for each team tonight. And you see the lead by Altair. Leaning.
Ooh, good cut.
Looked like he knew the breaking ball was coming.
Yeah, that was a hanger too, and Alonso had a good swing at it. You watch here, this ball just hangs right up there. Well, it almost backed up on him. You see it with slider spin, and it doesn't break across the plate. It just spins and sort of stays in the same hitting zone. And I've heard a lot of guys say that's the toughest pitch in baseball to hit.
Alonso, the most consistent bat this year for the Fightin' Phils. 21 multi-hit games. Eastern League midseason All-Star, Player of the Week, first week of June. Spent last year in Clearwater. Gold Glove Award winner last year at second base.
The last breaking ball he got looked like a pretty good pitch, sort of hung on the inside part. Very similar to the pitch that he fouled off.
You'll appreciate this. Last year, 117 games, a fielding percentage of .996.
That works.
That gets it done. Team leader in games, hits, runs. Runner goes. Hammered. Racing back Fedorov. Can he get it? That is a home run. Second 2-run shot of the night for the Fightin' Phils. Fedorov gave it everything he had. He's done that all night, but the yard couldn't contain him, and it's a 4-0 lead.
Well, you're right, Dick. This is a great effort. I thought the wind would hold that ball up because it was hit so high. Shows you a little bit about the strength that Alonso has, though. I mean, he's back with another, looks like breaking ball. And he missed one, and he knows this one does have a chance. An outstanding, oh, just too much. Clears the fence pretty easily.
Yeah. So a 2-run shot in the first, a 2-run bomb here in the 7th. And Reading finally with a little more breathing room against the Rubber Ducks. Brock Stassi, infield single his last time up. Well, we mentioned Alonso with the consistent bat this year. Multi-RBI game number 9 on the season. Look at Walters giving chase from behind the plate, but Abraham will take it.
Well, he's a middle infielder now, so
that's right.
They're taught to take everything in the air.
So 2 out now for Ray Willie Gomez. Again, Jordan Cooper sharp and efficient tonight, but he's made 2 mistakes. And both have left the ballpark over that left field wall. Gomez had a hit taken away in the 2nd inning by Fedorov, who made a diving grab. And a double play back in the 5th. Came over from Arizona back in June, at the end of June. After 55 games with Mobile, double-A team for the D-backs. Also played in Mobile last year. Good pitch by Cooper. One ball, 2 strikes to Ray Willie Gomez. Here in a 2-run 7th for the Fightin Phils. Played in 6 games this season so far here at First Energy Stadium. 5 for 17 coming into tonight. Double, an RBI, couple of runs, trying to get acclimated. Ronnie Rodriguez, and Mr. Smooth boots a routine ground ball.
Well, we've been bragging about him all night. And that time it looked like this got a little quick. Plays an awfully deep shortstopper line upon that good arm. And that time, instead of coming to get the ball, he sort of laid back a little bit. The ball probably will come up on him. You'll see it stay down. Yep, just comes up just a hair. We've all done that, son, believe me.
Edgar Duran. Had a base hit taken away and left by Fedorov. That was back in the 5th inning. Bounced out to 2nd in the 3rd. Two out, 2 in. Duran spent 14 games in Lehigh Valley with the Iron Pigs. Back and forth in the month of June. Off the handle. And that'll do it for the Fightin Phils. But they put up 2 runs, and that came on a big fly. This one by Carlos Alonso. Just clearing the wall and left. And that's why Reading has a 4-0 lead as we go to the 8th. Finally. Reading with a 4-0 lead. Jordan Cooper sharp except for the 2 home runs he's given up, but he hasn't gotten much support from the Rubber Duck offense. Ryan O'Sullivan, pitcher of record right now. Fox and Alonso with the 2 big flies for the Fightins. Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn. Let's go downstairs. Lauren Gardner. Lauren.
Guys, things are heating up for the Fightins out on the field, and I'm out here in right field, and I thought it would be time to cool off. We're out here at the pool. It's actually the character party, so it's really a family area that they put together here in Reading, and as you can see, it is packed. And this pool right now, it's heated, so it's open year-round. They added it here to First Energy Stadium back in 2000, and it actually won the best family attraction in all of Pennsylvania by Philadelphia Magazine. You can tell these guys are having fun. Have you been in the pool the entire time?
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys are getting waterlogged. I think everyone's having a good time. So I think I'm going to hang them up for tonight, guys. I'm just going to hang out in here. I need some water wings. Maybe one of these little guys will help me out with that.
All right, so she's already tried to talk the gentleman out of his free beer bracelet. Now she's trying to talk kids at other water wings. She never misses a trick. That's our girl, Lauren. That looked pretty inviting, didn't it?
It looks very good, especially when she said it was
and she said it was heated? Oh, yeah. How about that?
New pitcher in, Miguel Alfredo Gonzalez.
Third pitcher of the night for the Fightin Phils.
96.
Bad strike 3 to Jake Lowry. Trying to put together that staff-wide shutout. There you get a look at his numbers. Trying for save number 5 if they leave him in long enough. Came up from Clearwater on the 12th of this month. 8 games down there, struck out 11 in 15 innings.
Well, Clearwater was always one of the places you look forward to going over to. Phillies were there for a lot of years. Their fantasy camps there.
Gonzalez earlier 60-day DL had a sore right shoulder. Activated June 20th.
It doesn't look too sore now.
No, the Baseball America website called him the 4th best prospect in the Phillies organization. Came in from Cuba, played for the Cuban national team. The World Cup, the World Tournament in 09 and the World Cup in 2011.
Well, a lot of those kids are now coming over and realizing that they can make some very good money, and they're signing them to some outstanding contracts even before they've seen them throw over here because of their reputations of pitching with the national team.
Fedorov trying to find his way on again. He's reached twice on fielder's choices, grounded out back in the 6th.
Can you imagine being a young kid coming from Cuba and they offer you 4 years at $30 million before you've ever even thrown a ball in the United States?
Sounds wonderful, but odds are you're saying goodbye to your family too. So it's a bittersweet
for a
moment.
while. That's true.
At least for a while.
Yeah, I talked to Louis Tion a long time about that one time. Matter of fact, they did a documentary on him going back home saying hello to everybody, and very touching.
Good breaking ball fooled him. Nice pickup by Alonso, 2 down. You know, I got to see Louis Tion when I was very young in a rehab start with the old Louisville Colonels, who were very popular in that city, but now they are the Pawtucket Red Sox.
Yeah. Boston was there for quite a while, weren't they?
Yep. All because of Lee Corso. He was the head football coach at Louisville, and he wanted a new AstroTurf field, and they shared the playing surface, so they put down AstroTurf, and this was back in the day, so they had to put permanent bleachers across the outfield from right to center. And of course that meant no more baseball and what was then Fairgrounds Stadium, so it gave the Louisville Colonels 5 days to locate somewhere else to play in the city of Louisville, where I was born and raised. And of course, you know, there's nowhere to play, so they looked north and went to Pawtucket. They've been there ever since. So you fans in Pawtucket, your team originally arrived thanks to Lee Corso.
I'll be. And then they built another outstanding baseball stadium in Louisville.
Absolutely. Ronnie Rodriguez facing that young man who is 6'3", 200. Looks like he packs more onto that frame. An athletic looking right-hander. Rodriguez an infield single his last time up. Colton Murray with a scoreless 2 innings. Walked 1. Struck out 1. Gave up a couple of hits. 4 base hits for the Ducks, only 5 for the Phils, but 2 were 2-run homers. 2-2 pitch. fooled him with a breaking ball, but missed outside.
And you wonder if those are being called from the bench or not. They're just working on a breaking ball with this kind of lead, or with the kind of gas he's got and a 4-run lead. You'd think he'd be possibly just trying to blow this young man away. 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
And he missed with a fastball. So a runner at first, 2 down. Umpire shift. Haven't had a chance to mention them tonight. Sean Ryan behind the plate. Ryan Clark at first. Jeremy Rehak at third base, now standing in the middle of the diamond. You talk about guys who get by on not a lot of money. Minor league umpires.
Live out of their cars.
I've been told many times by guys who have done that, you have really got to enjoy the company of your partner or partners as you live with them. Justin Toole mentioned his versatility. Once upon a time played all 9 positions in one game.
How about that? Wonder which one was the toughest.
My guess is pitching. In the gap. That gets down. That'll be extras for Toole. They're going to send the runner. So a double for Toole, and finally Akron on the board after putting a lot of pressure offensively on the Fightin Phils. The number 9 hitter in the lineup drives in the number 8 man, and it's a 4-1 game.
Boy, he just takes a fastball and hammers it to right center field. I mean, this ball is hit right on the line. It's amazing how many times that guy in front of you, when you walk him, you get ahead of him in the count, then you throw him 3 straight breaking balls that are not for strikes, and then you walk him on a fastball. But you could see he's got the green light all the way.
Rodriguez rounding second, picks up the third base coach off on contact with 2 outs. So a great jump. Now Jordan Smith will try to keep it going for the Ducks.
Well, there's that breaking ball again. Maybe he's just working on it, and that's what you'll see from a lot of kids. They know they have a good fastball. They want them to get used to trying to throw another pitch in certain situations.
Jordan Smith 0 for 4. A 10-game hitting streak on the line. 248 hitter. 85 base hits this year. Runner in scoring position. He's driven in 36. Big gap in right center. They shade him to left. Gonzalez jams him and jumps ahead in the count.
Man, he's got a live arm. Ball's moving. 95, 96 mile an hour.
Smith, 9th round pick out of St. Cloud State University back in 2011. Minnesota native. Smith last year 8th in the Carolina League in batting, 292 average.
Well, this crowd is just amazing.
Altair ends the inning, but not before the Ducks can get on the board. RBI double delivered by Justin Toole. That makes it 4-1 Fightin Phils as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Back with more of the minor league baseball game of the week. CBS Sports Network. 4-1 Reading leads it here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Here's how it happened as we've talked a couple of big flies for the Fightin Phils. The first coming in inning number 1 off the bat of Jake Fox, and he just clubbed the belt-high fastball. And a nice catch by a Phils fan. That made it 2-0. Stayed that way until the 7th inning when Carlos Alonso goes deep, just sneaks it over the wall and left. Another great catch by a fan out there makes it 4-0. But Akron finally gets on the board, and the top of the 8th inning is Justin Toole goes the other way, finds the gap with 2 outs and a man on board. That made it 4-1, and that's where we are as we come to the bottom of the 8th inning here in Baseball Town, USA. New pitcher for the for the Akron Rubber Ducks as they go to the pen. Jordan Cooper again pitched well, but Lewis Head's going to take over now, making his 18th appearance. Not a save situation, but he's been sharp this year. Although 13 walks in 18 innings they'd like to work on.
Yeah, when you see that 3.86 ERA and the fact that he's got 18 strikeouts, it probably means that he's been a little wild. And we saw some of that today from O'Sullivan, who in only 5 innings threw over 100 pitches. He had very good stuff. He just wasn't able to locate it and had several walks. As tonight you see attendance of, wow, almost 10,000 people here at the ballpark.
And a new stadium record. We're glad to be a part of that. Glad you're getting to see it here on the CBS Sports Network's Minor League Game of the Week.
Well, that's exciting.
Absolutely.
Be a part of history like that.
Sure. In an historic setting. First pitch swinging, Albert Cartwright. They have a meeting in the infield, and finally, first baseman Brian LaHare calls everybody off, and we know how important it is to call off your teammates.
That's good that all of them wanted it, though. And that's where your pitcher can sort of be a traffic cop. He can call out the name of the person so he can keep guys from running into each other.
Lewis had back-to-back saves earlier this month on the 9th and the 11th. Got his first AA save back in June, first week of June. Came up from Carolina on June 1st. 9 saves in 17 games for the Mudcats as Levine stands in, looks for his first base hit. Jammed him. LaHare once again calling. 2 out. You don't see that very often.
No, you don't. And he could probably tie a record here if he gets another one. He knew that was coming.
Now Kelly Dugan. A couple of singles. Scored a run back in the first inning. Out swinging in the 6th, but well, the 2 hits he's had were absolute lasers off his bat.
Got him with an off-speed pitch last time. Ow.
And he's on the hard way. Second Phil flunked tonight.
Tried to start him off with a breaking ball and just a little bit too much inside. Got him on the top of the foot.
Because of that indiscretion, now he has to face Jake Fox.
Look out to the mound like, what are you doing? Ooh, that's maybe more ankle than it was top of the foot.
Fox, the 2-run shot back in the first inning. Gets away from him.
You know, we talk about guys with certain instincts that we've seen them go with balls in the dirt. That time, maybe had he not been hit on the foot, that would have been a ball he could have gotten to second base on.
A great number for Fox. Wonder how long he'll stay here in Reading.
Wow.
Say goodnight.
Wow.
Over the head of Jordan Smith. Stays in the ballpark.
That's a long way out there at that ballpark, though. At that fence in center field.
Well, they set off the fireworks thinking it was as did I, but remains in the ballpark. Look at this.
I mean, this ball is just lasered. I think he thinks he's got enough of it, too. Yeah, he thinks he's got a...
Right about then, Jordan Smith realized he had turned the wrong way. Kelly Dugan with that sore foot chugs across the plate. 3rd run batted in tonight for Jake Fox. And he'll get an easy trip to 3rd on the wild pitch. The Lewis head gets off to a good start, but now wobbly. Fightin Phils get back the run they gave away in the 8th.
Well, we didn't get a chance to ask Greg Lazinski tonight if it's true, if he hit one over the wall and out of this ballpark. There's a big brick wall up in left field.
Yep.
And rumor has it that he had hit one over it, but
that will remain legend.
Yes, it will.
Altair with a solid shot into left field. That scores a run. Phils lead at 6-1. First base hit of the night for Altair and an RBI. Fox scores for the second time. Well, he just went down and got a fastball, it looked like.
Yeah, we might be seeing why he's been throwing a lot of breaking balls, because when he throws that fastball across the plate, it's getting hit pretty good.
And now Carlos Alonso, a 2-run shot off his bat last time up in the 7th. Ducks have kept the Fightins down offensively since the first, but 4 runs over the last 2 frames. Mighty cut by Alonso.
I mean, these guys are coming out of their shoes on 94-mile-an-hour fastballs, and he's right. There weren't that many guys that threw that hard back in the day, but now everybody that's coming out throws well.
Well, people are lifting weights, and stretching more, and there's nutrition at play.
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say that when you came out, you were how? What were you?
168.
Soaking wet, right?
That was on a good day, yeah.
People are just bigger and stronger now.
They sure are.
Another nice pick by Abraham. And that'll do it for the Fightin Phils. But the Ducks surrender. 2 more runs. They've got a lot of work to do in the 9th. 5-run lead for Reading. Coming back with a minor league baseball game of the week. CBS Sports Network. Back in Reading, PA, where the Fightin Phils have a 5-1 lead on the Akron Rubber Ducks. Join us next Thursday, July 24th. We're going to be in Utah, where the Tacoma Rainiers, the Mariners affiliate, travel to Salt Lake to take on the Bees. That's the Angels AAA affiliate. Pacific Coast League AAA action on the minor league baseball game of the week, 10 p.m. Eastern on the CBS Sports Network. Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn, Lauren Gardner. I'm looking forward to going to Salt Lake. Haven't been there in a while. Was there covering an NCAA tournament. Got to ski on the open day. Do you think we can do that next week?
I know.
Will there be enough snow on those hills?
It wouldn't matter to me if it was covered. I'm not skiing. Now I might go fish.
It always comes back to fishing for you, doesn't it? If not for fish, for compliments.
That's a good point. I tell you, I'm just so impressed with everything that they've done here.
Oh, man.
I mean, this is absolutely amazing. Scott and Chuck and all their staff and what they've put together.
Just off the mitt of Brock Stassi, Tony Walters with his second base hit of the night. And again, the leadoff man aboard for Akron. And, you know, anybody watching out there, if you're in this part of the country on vacation or just close enough to visit Reading and you've never seen this ballpark, by all means, take it in. It's just a great experience. Really any minor league ballpark around, but as Doug mentioned, this is just a real slice of history here.
You just feel so comfortable in this ballpark. I mean, there's not any bad seats. Everybody's friendly. They treat you good. It's just the atmosphere and the soul of this ballpark is amazing.
Well, and that's the word that has been used so often tonight. Bryson Miles, a .278 average, driven in 22 on the year. Hit by a pitch in the 5th, reached on a fielder's choice back in the 7th, couple of strikeouts. Gonzalez struggled back in the 8th inning. Levine waits and waits and finally camps under it.
You know, you hear a lot of times mentioned that a player just missed one, he just missed that one. I mean, he knows it too. He got a fastball right in his wheelhouse and just barely got under it.
Brian LaHare has not had much in his wheelhouse tonight. 3 walks, a fly ball to left field. Gonzalez with a little bit of communication with his shortstop.
One thing that you always have to do is find out who's covering if the ball's hit back to you. And that play gets messed up at every level, big league or not.
As you would expect the shortstop to cover with a left-hander with a box, but you take nothing for granted. See, LaHare's gotten it done in the RBI department this year.
Well, you're right. He's throwing a lot of breaking balls to go with that 95-mile-an-hour fastball. This is a place to work on it, and it's the time to work on it, too, when you got a good lead.
Thanks to Eric Scarcella, Director of Media Relations and PR here in Reading. Been a big help tonight, huge help, especially with young Miss Gardner, helping to show her around the ballpark. Not that she needs the help, but made it easier. Lauren's never met a stranger.
Yeah, they've been over backwards to make this a special evening, and we get to stay for the fireworks.
How about that? We've been lucky in the fireworks department this year on our Game of the Week travel. We've seen 3 or 4
oh, I know.
displays this season.
Well, it's nice of people, you know, they know you and I are coming, and it's nice of them to do that.
Yeah. You know, maybe we should bring our own fireworks. We certainly see enough of the stores on the interstate.
Really, try being on a lake, on the Harrington Lake, which is a little lake that's in Kentucky where Dick and I live.
They're going to rename it after Doug Flynn. He spent so much time on it. The fish know Doug, all the ones he throws back.
Oh, just good heat on the outside.
Wow.
And you're right. That's just nasty right there. Off speed, boom, and
froze him.
Yeah, it did. It just froze him. I mean, knee-high fastball, and then you know it was right then. Just you tip your hat, walk to the dugout.
Snuck a look at him. We'll meet again someday. By the way, yes, that is an ostrich on the cap of Gonzalez and his Fightin Phils teammates. Look at that fierce rubber duck.
Call it a fierce rubber duck?
I would say it's fierce. I was talking to Dave Wilson, the radio man for Akron. I said, what was it like when they changed from the Akron Arrows, A-E-R-O-S? He said, for about 24 hours, people were like, what? Are we going to be some kind of laughing stock with rubber ducks? And then when they saw the logo, and then, you know, it's kind of a nod to the rubber industry in Akron. People liked it.
Boy, for hat collectors that are really looking for unique things, they need to just travel the minor leagues.
Absolutely. You got one team with an ostrich on its cap, another one with a fierce duck.
And there are how many minor league teams? 160 something?
Fans on their feet. Ducks down to their last strike. Adam Abraham trying to keep the inning alive.
This is impressive.
Foul ball. Abraham really chased, but just got enough to stay alive.
I mean, the difference in his fastball and his breaking ball is almost 18 miles an hour.
But his delivery is just really deceiving.
Yeah, he doesn't really change it much. The ball comes out of his hand kind of funny on his breaking ball, but let's see if he comes back to it again or if he just tries to blow him away with the high heat.
Low heat.
But boy, Gomez is just a good receiver.
Yes.
And watching him all night, the way he just effortlessly is taking the 95-mile-an-hour fastball like it's nothing.
Easier said than done, isn't it?
Well, it really is.
1-2 pitch. Off speed. But that finds foul ground. It's a tight ballpark, the confines. There's not a lot of foul ground. You're behind home plate. You're almost as close to the plate as the pitcher is. Fans want to win. They want to see the fireworks. Abraham looking for his second base hit tonight. Got him with the jump. And a record crowd sees the Fightin Phils knock off the Akron Rubber Ducks by a final score of 6-1. Nearly 10,000 fans celebrate here in Reading, Baseball Town, USA. We'll come back and wrap things up in just a minute. Minor League Baseball Game of the Week on CBS Sports Network. Six to 1, Reading wins it over the Akron Rubber Ducks. Akron still struggling. Reading comes up with a long ball, just enough offense tonight, Doug.
Yeah, they did, and the fact that there were so many men left on base by Akron, I think it was a big key to this ball game.
And the fact that they got to do it in front of a record crowd, that had to really help the Fightin Phils. A little bit of extra adrenaline.
Well, it wasn't just a crowd that was here that was, I mean, it was an active crowd. It wasn't people that just came for fireworks. They came to enjoy the ball game, got behind their team, and then they got off to a good start, get a big 2-run home run. And
it was kind of like two different games, you know. You had the early home run and a pitcher's duel, and all of a sudden, against the bullpens, the offense comes alive.
It's not, you see the pitching for the Phillies was outstanding. There's Gonzalez comes with a breaking ball, and, you know, that's good emotion right there. That's not showing up anybody. But their starting pitcher, O'Sullivan, very seldom do you see a pitcher that will go 5 innings, throw over 100 pitches, and not give up any runs.
Well, early in the ball game, Ryan O'Sullivan struggled, but managed to work out of some jams, thanks in part to his teammates and to some sharp pitches he made. And we mentioned earlier, Jordan Cooper, very sharp in the early going for Akron, just made a couple of mistakes, but Akron just left too many men on base.
Well, they did, and there were only 3 men left on base for the Fightin Phils. So it was a game where we saw good pitching, good hitting, and excellent defense.
That'll do it from Reading with a final score. The Fightin Phils 6, the Rubber Ducks 1. For Doug Flynn, Lauren Gardner, our entire crew, I'm Dick Gabriel. Be sure to join us next Thursday as the Salt Lake Bees host the Tacoma Rainiers at 10 p.m. Eastern right here on the CBS Sports Network. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports, the CBS Sports Network. Final score again, Reading 6, Akron 1. For Lauren and Doug, Dick Gabriel, that's it. Good night from Reading.